All right. Excuse me. All right. All right. What is good, everyone? What is good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to the stream. Man, I am excited. I am hyped. I am amped up like always to deliver you guys some Metroid Prime 4 goodness. I want to first and foremost say shout outs to all the new Metroid Prime fans that have subscribed to the channel. This has been one of the better months that we've had in the last number of months. It's actually, this year's been pretty rough when it comes down to it. I don't know what YouTube is doing, but I think YouTube purged a ton of old accounts. So definitely sub counts are kind of weird, but we're kind of trending back upward. You know, a lot of new subs, 300 plus subs in like the last number of days. So I want to say thank you guys to all that are subbing to the Metroid Prime 4 content. And if you're watching, I appreciate you. A lot of new subs. So thank you guys so much. Next, let's get into shout outs. Then we'll get into these disappointing, at least compared to Metroid Prime 4 or Metroid Prime reviews, Metroid 1 through 3 at least, reviews. But, and I was wrong about the review score. I thought it was going to be higher. But how wrong was I? Was I incredibly wrong? Or was I just like kind of wrong? There's varying levels of being wrong. You know what I'm saying? And after actually taking the time, not just to read the excerpts, but like to actually read the more negative reviews, I don't think I'm wrong on the game itself. I think the score is around what I think it should have been if you look at everything. Now, once again, we're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it. But after reading through, yeah, like I don't think I was like super wrong. Like it should have scored right around where I thought. I've been pretty spot on pretty much every single review, every single game this year, major game for Nintendo this year. And this one threw me for a loop. I was like, what? What's going on here? But after reading through, like, I'm like, okay, I'm wrong, but these people's scores are weird. Like, there's just a lot of weird stuff happening with this game. So we'll get into that.
I'm no conspiracy theorist, but something is kind of strange with this Switch 2 games reviews. Also, what's up? Can I get some little root town?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm not playing conspiracy theorist, okay? And I'm not saying that those people are not allowed to have their own, excuse me, reviews, when it comes down to it. But like I said, after actually reading the reviews, I didn't penalize the game as much as I should have from purists. A lot of purists are penalizing the game heavily and are literally saying, like, and I kid you not, oh, this is some of the best gameplay. This game is incredible. The controls are incredible. The frame rate is incredible. The graphics are incredible. The ambience is incredible. The gameplay is like the levels and everything is so great. Yeah, but I don't like this character. Oh, there's hand holding, or there's this and all that. It ruins the whole game. Like, some people are doing that. That's contributing to the lower scores. But I'd be hard pressed to sit there if you played Metroid Prime 3 or Metroid Prime Hunters or even Metroid Prime 2 to a degree and not say this game is better than it based off of actually reading the review. Half of the reviews of the more negative reviews are people complaining like, oh, a character showed up for a cutscene or something like that. And I don't like that. Metroid Prime, I was by myself. Oh, the game's incredible in terms of gameplay. And oh, I didn't like the ending. There wasn't a big payoff or something. There's never any big payoffs in any Metroid Prime games, but whatever, kind of.
Those 6 out of 10 scores are fraudulent.
Shout outs to Juice Man Vaughn. So, yeah, like I said, at first, I'm wrong, and I definitely was wrong on it. I'm not trying to discredit the people that gave it that score, like the 6 or 5, or there was no 5s, but the 6 out of 10 scores. But after reading it, they're literally saying this is the greatest gameplay ever in the series, but I don't like this because Samus is about isolation. Samus is about being by herself. She is by herself most of the time. They just didn't like, a lot of them just didn't like the fact that the game structure changed from their God and Savior, Metroid Prime 1. You know, I think that's really what I'm seeing. Now, once again, I'm coming from a little bit of a different perspective. I do not worship Metroid Prime 1 as the greatest Metroid game ever made or anything like that. I don't worship it as the greatest Prime game ever made. I like Metroid Prime 3 the most. That is my favorite Metroid Prime game, okay? And many people feel that Metroid Prime 3 out of the trilogy is, before Prime 4 came out, is the worst one. So I like Metroid Prime 3 the most. So I'm coming at it from a little bit of a different angle. Me personally, I like 3, 2, 1. That's my that's my order. Now, below that is the 2D games. I like Fusion, I like Super, I like Dread way more than I like any of the Prime games. So I am coming at it from a different angle. What I saw from some of these guys that were, the lower scores was they're coming at it from against Metroid Prime 1, So I think that's where the disconnect is. That's where I'm seeing the disconnect,
I think this is the first year where all my favorite games are 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be hard for a Switch 2 game to get a 90 aside from Mario and Zelda nowadays?
I do think that it's going to be more difficult, for a Switch 2 game not named Mario or Zelda or in those universes or like Smash Brothers to get a higher than that. I do think so. Like I said, like if you look at the scores, like does anybody actually think this game, if you read the reviews, nobody actually thinks this game is barely better or only a couple points better than Metroid Other M. And I think that if you read the reviews, I don't think a lot of people think that this game is worse than Metroid Prime 3. Metroid Prime 3 was just 20 years ago, and the standards and the rating scales and how they did things was different 20 years ago, 25 years ago or 23 years ago or whatever, compared to how they are now. So, like I said, going through the review scores, I was wrong on the score, but my problem was that I did not appropriately penalize the game as much as I should have for purists. The purists, like Andy Robinson, like the BGC and some of those guys, like Eurogamer, the people that are going to be purists, that are going to want to try to, everything needs to be like Metroid Prime 1 or pretty much like Metroid Prime 1. How dare them do anything outside of the box of what I like, which is Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 1 only. It needs to be exactly like that game, but just different, right? Just new, psychic powers, same as Metroid Prime 1, right? Better graphics. So that was my problem. I penalized it 3 points from Metroid Prime 3, but that wasn't enough. I didn't know, and I don't know if Sizz is here, but Sizz was right on the 80 to 85 scale, but I didn't penalize it enough. I didn't know that they were gonna, say it's the greatest gameplay ever in the series. Oh, but there's hand holding because one person told me something in a tutorial area, and after you leave the tutorial area, they're not even there anymore. They're not really a big deal, but that's enough to ruin the whole thing, or that's enough to cause problems. Because that's really what's going down there. Like, at least from what I read, that's what it's like to me, which we'll get into. So that was my bad, and I'll make sure to not make the same mistake in future reviews. Let's get into the combos. Big love to Justin with the 3, Juice Man with the 5, Justin with another 3. That does get us to 11 on the board already. So we're gonna have full extensions today if we get it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Big love to Juice Man Vaughn. He's saying that the 6 out of 10 scores JMV are fraudulent. Fraudulent, I tell you. Like I said, I think that they're entitled to their opinion. I don't have a problem with their opinion in terms of saying things. I just actually, like I said, I went and read through more of it, and yeah, it definitely seems like the purest people were the ones that were like, oh my god, and like they're talking about payoffs towards the end. I mean, I played Prime 1, 2, and 3, and like the payoff towards the end wasn't anything. There wasn't any type of remarkable story revelations in a lot of those games. When it comes down to it, but I get it. They're gonna compare their memory and what's the best compared to what their expectations are now. So yeah, I think that might be part of it as well. Also, big love to Justin with the with the $6. You are now the Hokage and Streaming. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Justin. Anybody that does 6 or more, you can beat out Justin on the board, and I'll get to you guys' comments in a bit. Let me get some music going for Justin as well. Little Root Town. Rural Root Town theme. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, I got to get into more shout outs. Dior, General Zamora, Clabby, Bluncy, David V. What's up, David V? Welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Mr. 9K, Mr. Joe. What's up, Mr. Joe? Jeff Shadow, Egomaniac. What is good, Egomaniac? Welcome to the stream as well. CBH for God. The cool guy says these reviews are crazy. Right, I'll stop everyone on a break for another 10 minutes, hoping this stream is still going when I get off in 2.5 hours. It should if we hit our combo goal. It should. Shoutouts, Roadhouse. Nintendo, Nintendo something. But my chat just freaking hyper speed. Dan Dips Queso. Let's say, oddly enough, people are claiming that other M, yet Metroid Prime 4 is only 2 points higher. Something is definitely off. That's what I'm saying, Derek's good. Like, I don't think anybody actually thinks like that. Even the reviewers that are playing this game, I don't think any of them actually think it's close to Metroid Other M in terms of score. I think they all think it's significantly better than Metroid Other M, but yet it's close in point scale, which is why we can maybe watch a video from Nintendo Forecast. Shout outs to Nintendo Forecast. He kind of gave me a little shout out today in his video. So he mentioned that the review scales, I mean, like, he was kind of talking fast, and I was in, like, and he has like the UK accent, and like I was running, so I didn't fully digest everything that he said, but like he was basically saying that the review scales from like 20 years ago or whatever plus, or 30 years ago, are very different how they calculate things compared to now. So if those games were re-reviewed, it'd be a little bit different in terms of what their scores would be, because of how they do the point scale. Now, he did say that, hey, look, it seems like I'm defending the game, but I'm not. I'm just simply giving my analysis and my breakdown. And Nintendo Forecast, I think he's pretty just, he's pretty even killing. He likes to look at things from an even, from a logical standpoint. So yeah. I knew we'd get a lower score based on previews and OG Trilogy purist complaints, but the reviews saying it has Ocarina of Time puzzles and stuff actually got me more excited. Yeah, I did see that too with the Ocarina of Time, like hub world, and kind of going in certain puzzles and things like that. Yeah. Any thoughts on supposed 10-hour length? Apparently comparable to Prime 1, but I felt that game wasn't short. I don't really judge based off of reviewers playing a game, because they're trying to rush through to get the review done in time. So I don't really judge it based off of their playtime. I mean, I saw somebody say that Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is like a 12-hour game, bro. I'm like 43 hours in, so, and I'm like not even close to being done. Well, maybe I'm like halfway, a little bit more than, maybe like I'm like 60%. So yeah, I don't really judge it based off of what reviewers say, because they're trying to rush through a game to get it done in time. So yeah. Shout out to Dan Dips Queso with the $5 dono, and I wouldn't be surprised if many of them put the game on casual too. I wouldn't be surprised on that too. So yeah, another issue. Sometimes hand holding is good, especially if you're too busy with fam or life. I don't have much time for games except 1 and 2 hours a night. Yeah, and I don't even think that the game is really hand holdy. I think that purists want no anything in their games, and I think that's really what it comes from. I don't think it is hand holdy. I really don't. I think that they have a tutorial area, they have a tutorial character, and that's about it, and maybe there's like a thing or two, but I don't really think it even is like super hand-holdy or anything like that. I think it's basically purist, like based off of what I read and based off of what I saw. Now, I need to play it myself, Dan Dips, but based off of what I played or what I've seen and what I've read on the good reviews and the bad reviews, it's like I said, purists, or anything that's changed from Metroid Prime 1 is a problem. That's what I like. Eurogamer's review, in addition to, and them just complaining about the ending, or I didn't get what I wanted, or whatever, right? And the other characters in the game, like, it almost seemed like they were reacting to what other people were saying than simply just giving their own personal opinion from the reviews that I like, the bad reviews. Well, not bad, but not great. Eurogamer, VGC. So those are just like my opinion on that. Like I said, and I read through both of them today. I read through both of those reviews and like one more 60 review. The other one was just kind of poorly written, so whatever. But VGC and Eurogamer's reviews, I wouldn't say they're poorly written. They use a lot of good grammar and spellings on point, but it just seems like they're reacting to themselves. Metroid is not supposed to be this. I'm going to compare it to this. It's supposed to be this. And I didn't get what I want, so it's not good, But, oh, by the way, the gameplay's the best gameplay in the series. Like, it's smooth, it runs everything, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was great, graphics are incredible. Yeah, that's whatever. Like, push that aside, like, that's what it seems like from what I read in the reviews. Like I said, I'm paraphrasing here, or not even, I'm just giving you a general thought. But once again, you guys can read the reviews yourself, too. I read them on my own time. I read them this morning, but I did do a review roundup. So if you guys want to see the review roundup, I did do that as well. Let's see here. The first time OJ was wrong. Wow, what a time I'm living in. Oh, I mean, if you look on my channel, I've put I was wrong. I've had I was wrong videos, because like I said, I'm usually correct on a lot of things. This one, I was wrong on the score that I thought it was going to get, because I did not penalize the game enough from the purists. The purists kind of got me on this one. So So yeah, which I should have. I thought 3 points would be enough over Metroid Prime 3, considering Metroid Prime 3 also has chatting and other characters and stuff like that, and dialogue and, you know, things, you know. So I thought, okay, 3 points off of Metroid Prime. There's no way this game is not gonna be like, in terms of like the game itself, we all know this game is better than Metroid Prime 3. We all know this. Like I don't think that's in the question here. I think pretty much even the people reviewing the game would tell you that, unless their nostalgia gets the best of them. But gameplay wise, having stuck to just a Wii remote and nunchuck, no traditional controls, obviously no mouse controls, no gyro controls. You had a pointer controls, but no other types of controls that you can, just one type of control scheme, even in the trilogy, compared to multiple control schemes, compared to way better 480p, you know, 60 frames per second compared to 4K 60 or 120, 1080p 120 FPS, you know, with all sorts of cool psychic powers and like stuff like that, and, you know, great gameplay, obviously. I don't think anybody actually thinks that original Wii version is better than this game, you know. So I said I should have went down further from the purists, because that's what happened. We got bodied by the 5 out of 10 scores. The 5 out of 10, not the 5 out of 10. The 5-star scores are like devastating for reviews, because no matter what, most games aren't gonna be a 5. Most games might fit into the 4 category, but if you get a 4, it's just an 80. That's all it is. If you get a 3, it's a 60. So it completely jacks up. Like it's tilted against it. And I know that, you know, Nintendo Forecast, he talked about it more in terms of how the 5-star works versus the 10-star, but or the 10-point score. But I'm telling you, man, these 3s, yes, it does not mean that the game, it's more like a 7 out of 10, right? But it doesn't score a 7 out of 10 in the review scaling. It scores a 6 out of 10 on the review scaling. So I think that's kind of like detrimental. That's like a huge blow to where if you remove those 2, you put those up to like a 7.5 or like an 8 instead, the score is now all the way up to where I think where I was predicting, maybe more of like a 84 to 87 or 85-ish, without, you know, multiple 5-star out of 5, and with 3 out of 5, which gets you a 60. There's like multiple ones that are like that, right? So if you move that and get it like a 7 or a 7.5, all of a sudden that score becomes a 86, 87, in my opinion. So yeah. Let's see. Question: when does Metroid Prime? Okay. Oh my gosh, Brian, are you gonna do this the whole time, bro? I'm gonna time you out. I'm gonna time you out for 30 minutes. I'm gonna see if you're back in 30 minutes. I think that'll be funny. I thought it was weird that with the scoring, but yeah, I get why people may not be a fan of certain new things. If the gameplay is best in the series, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird.
You know, it's strange when Air Rider's score is close to Metroid Prime. I wish everyone used the same scale instead of 10 out of 10 and 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I think that 10 out of 10 should be just what people use. I get it's different for different websites and they have their different stuff. I mean, and I'm not trying to force people into doing whatever, you know, what I think is best for whatever. I just feel that it'd just be a little bit better overall. I think it's easier to do 1 out of 10. I think 3 out of 5 or 1 out of 5 is like a really obtuse way, in my personal opinion. If anything, it should be like A, B, C, like, you know, F, D, you know, C, B, A. I mean, I like that score even better because that even translates better, you know, when it comes down to it. So for me personally, yeah, I would like the 1 out of 10 score. I've always felt like when I do reviews, I do 1 out of 10. So yeah, I would like that, but you know, I'm not a fan of 3 out of 5 or you know, 5-star score or whatever. I've never been a huge fan of that. Like I said, I never done it myself. I've done 1 out of 10 when I do my own reviews, you know. So yeah. Excuse me. Shout outs to Ava Cook. Thank you for the 21 months. I can't believe someone could give it a 6. It looks like they're hating on the game. They didn't give it a 6. They gave it a 3 out of 5. So if you give it a 3 out of 5 on the Metacritic point scale out of 1 from 10 or percentages, it translates to a 6. Is it actually a 6 out of 10 for them? No. It's more of probably like a 7 out of 10. But that's how the 5-star score reviews or 1 out of 5 works. It works that way. It translates that way, but it's not. Is it really a 6? Not really. But is it going to translate that way? Yeah, because it's 1 out of 5 and the percentage 3 out of 5 is a 6, is a 60% range, right? So that's what happens there. Let's see here. I'm glad to hear that it's got great HDR. Yeah, we're going to watch some stuff from Digital Foundry too. feel like they don't want Nintendo having another banger. That's yeah. Listen, Saints, I feel you, brother. I'm not gonna go conspiracy theory yet. I'm not going conspiracy theory just yet. You know, I'm really not. But I can understand why some people might think that way. But I'm not going conspiracy theory yet. So Metacritic, after 195 reviews, said it was going to be an 88, and always got the predictions right. So will it change? 195 reviews? It's not going to get 195 reviews. So yeah, I doubt it's going to get that high. Yeah, I noticed that too. The crazy thing Kirby mentioned, same score. Yeah, to have those in the same. Yo, finish up Forspoken before Prime 4. Hey, there you go. Shout outs to Vatsen with the 28 months as well. Shout outs to Vatsen, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the 28 months. Let's see. Seeing that my favorite games of the year, Fantasy Life I, Doom, TGAs, both received scores in low A's. I'm not too worried about Prime 4. Can't wait to play. No, hold up. Okay. Let me make this perfectly clear. I personally am not putting all the stock into the reviews. Guys, I don't. I told you guys that I stopped putting stock into reviews heavily, Metacritic scores, a long time ago. I stopped doing that in 2010 after I played Lost Odyssey, and Lost Odyssey is one of the greatest. It's like a 10 out of 10 RPG, one of the greatest RPGs of all time, one of the best stories of all time. That has a 78 on Metacritic, okay? I told you guys that and maybe I'll tell this story again, or maybe I'll make another video again on this, because I think some people think that I'm like all in on Metacritic. Hell no, I'm not. Let me just I told you guys this, that I stopped doing that when everybody gave Lost Odyssey 7 out of 10s and 6 out of 10s and some 5 out of 10s and just said that it was just an okay, or just an it was just an okay. And no, it's yes, there's a lot of old school JRPG, stuff in the game, but the game is absolutely incredible, and it does so many things that a lot of JRPGs especially back in 2008, 2009, were not doing. So yeah, that game is not a 78 score. That game is like more, like I said, I gave it a 10 out of 10. But I can understand, like, more objectively, maybe like a 9, or something like 8.5, but it's definitely not a 78. So I stopped looking at those as like a not be all end all, but I stopped really using those to make my purchases a long time ago. Like, I gotta really, really not know anything about a game for Metacritic to influence my purchase. And even then, even if the game is really great on Metacritic, that doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it. I saw Blueprints get incredible reviews. I went and looked at that gameplay. That crusty ass gameplay, I'm not playing that no offense to the developers of Blueprints, I'm not playing that puzzle weirdo first person thing. I'm not playing that. It's not my style. Like, I don't care if it has the greatest scores in its indie game of the year or whatever. I don't care. I didn't buy Silksong based off the review scores. I bought it because I wanted to play, because I played Hollow Knight. So just keep that in mind. I'm trying to be objective and fair. I'm not just trying to say, oh, review scores are great when Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild get the best scores, but when a game gets lower scores, all of a sudden I don't want to talk about review scores. I'm trying to be balanced and fair, and I talk about it with other games too. I talk about it with Xbox, PlayStation, whatever the case is. So we gotta be fair across the board. That's how I see it. I can't just say, oh yeah, they're great when it's great, and then when a game doesn't live up Metacritic wise to maybe previous games in the series, then all of a sudden I don't want to talk about it. No, that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about it regardless, good, bad. I'm gonna talk about it, so yeah. Let's see here. Chrono Rig with the $10 dono becoming the Hokage and Stream Ninja. So I listened to Andy Robinson podcast, and he hated what he played at the preview and said Nintendo was becoming a lazy developer. So I knew the score was gonna be low. Can we get Prime intro song? Yes. Yeah, I kind of knew his score was gonna be bad. But that's insane to sit there and say that Nintendo's being a lazy developer. I mean, if you look at Kiwi Talks and all the people that he interviewed at Retro Studios, dude, they busted their butt trying to get this game done, and trying to get this game out and all of that. I don't think they're being lazy at all. I think this game took a very,
If I went off of reviews, I would have missed my favorite games this year, Pokemon ZA.
Yeah.
Also, I got my Mewtwo.
Oh, I gotta get my Mewtwo. I have not got it yet. Shout outs to Chrono Rig. Thank you for the $10 dono. Shout outs to Justin. Thank you for another $3 dono as well. Metroid Prime title theme. But yeah, I don't think Nintendo's being lazy. I think that's insane to sit there and say that. Metroid Prime 4, if anything, I mean, they busted their butt on this game. I don't think that they're being lazy at all. They had a design that they wanted to do. They had something, and he personally just didn't like it. But I don't think if you don't like something, all of a sudden they're lazy because you don't like it, or because you're not getting scores that you want or stuff that you want. That doesn't mean anybody's lazy. Unless you have direct evidence of them being lazy, like, oh man, they didn't want to make this game runs like complete trash. They rushed the game out the door, you know, this and that, you know, whatever the case is. But the game runs incredible. The game, obviously, a lot of great technical aspects about this game. They tried their best on the gameplay. It's some of the best in the series. So yeah. So I don't think anybody's trying to be lazy. I think that's a little, I don't know if he actually said that, but I think that's ridiculous to make the assumption that the Retro Studios, out of anyone, is lazy. I mean, I think that's insane. Like, that seems to be a crazy take, in my opinion. But I don't know if he said that 100, or maybe you misinterpreted what he said. But yeah, we'll see. There's really any modern console games that run at 120 FPS like Metroid Prime 4 does? Yeah, there's not many. Obviously, Metroid Prime 4 is a Switch 1 game put on Switch 2. But even with the Switch 1 games that we have on Switch 2, a lot of those games don't run at 120 FPS. So they definitely busted their butt to make that a thing, you know, especially like with the mouse controls. Apparently, according to Digital Foundry, it works a lot better. If you're using the mouse controls, 120 FPS works way better with the mouse controls, or noticeably better. I do think that you have to be like a PC mouse guy in order to really see that, though. Like, if you play console games, I don't know if you're going to notice the difference, but if you use mouse, you know, in PC shooters, I think that 120 FPS mouse shooting is going to be sweet, you know, a lot more fluid. So yeah. Metroid Prime title theme. We need the title theme. Also, big love to Casual Noob with the $1 dono. Says, hey, OJ, I called Nintendo today and canceled my Metroid Prime 4 digital pre-order. I'm so glad I saw those reviews today. Woof, what a relief. I dodged the bullet thanks to reviewers to the rescue once again. Shout outs, the Casual Noob Gamer. I appreciate you, bro. So yeah. Let's see. Gotta go. All right, take it easy, Night Raven. Thanks for coming out to the stream. Let's see here. What is good? What is good? I'm not buying 120 hertz TV just for one game, though. I mean, you don't have to buy it for one game. You can buy it for the anticipation of other games. There are other games that do take advantage of 120 FPS. So, for example, Hades 2, that's 120 FPS. The new Ys game that's coming out, that's 120 FPS. Whenever Celia decides to put out Mina the Hollower, that's 120 FPS as well. There might be another game or two that I'm missing, but there might be like some other games in the future that are also use it as well. You know, and also if you look at it, if you play Xbox or PlayStation, you know, those also have some games that are 120 FPS on those games too. So yeah. We're gonna also get Chrono Rig with another $5 dono. I think that's 15, so you are the new, I think you're the new Hokage and Stream Ninja to Chrono Rig. So shout outs Chrono Rig. That's Chronos Tin Man in the chat, guys. Thank you for the 15 total. I'm gonna read your comment in just a bit, but we're gonna get you both up on both boards here before I forget, Chrono Rig. Remember, if you drop a dono, guys, put your music request in the message, and if you can't fit it because super chat sometimes is small, just let me know, just tag me or let a mod know and we'll get it for you. Shout outs to Chrono Rig 38 on the board. We have to do some overclocks, combo breaks, and some overclocks. So I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna read Chrono Rig's notification. 30-minute extension lined up, guys. Let's go. Shout outs. He said on his VG podcast, the episode where he previewed Metroid Prime 4, and I have nothing against him. I just think it's a dumb take. Okay, so Chrono Rig, I trust your listening skills. I don't think you're someone to purposefully misquote someone in you know, in malicious form or like anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to completely disagree. Like, I respect Andy Robinson. I name dropped him in my, you know, in my video today. I respect his outlet, VGC. It's a good outlet, but that's a terrible take. That is an absolutely terrible take, especially coming from someone who comes from the development side of things, you know, at least he used to be at Rare, if I'm not correct, so he knows how hard developers work. Now, I don't think that it's like nobody's allowed to say that developer is lazy. Like people are allowed to say that if you feel that, that's fine. But I do think that out of all the studios, Metroid, like Retro Studios, it's, out of all the studios, Retro Studios is the last developer to call lazy. Like, people call Pokemon Game Freak lazy. Okay, fine. Copy and paste textures on walls. Okay, fair. Fair on that stuff. But Metroid Prime, 120 FPS, 4K, 60 FPS, some of the technologically most sound game, great visuals, great gameplay, a lot of features, mouse mode, all these different things that they put into the game, and they're lazy. That just seems crazy to me. That just seems like a crazy assessment to put towards Metroid. Like, that's what brought up your lazy, was Metroid. Now, like I said, I get it if it was something else, but I don't know. I'm looking at the games that Nintendo released this year, between, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Legends ZA, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, Kirby Air Riders. All of those games have really cool, really fun gameplay and reviewed well for the most part. Definitely would have been great if they reviewed better, but reviewed well. None of those games are bad games per se, even by review Metacritic standards or whatever the case is. None of those games are bad. So I don't know if anybody's being lazy. I'm not sure if that's the case. I mean, if you go back and look at, like, let's just say, 2017 with the Switch 1, you had two games that reviewed incredibly high. Of course, Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. Both of those games were Wii U games that they brought over to the Nintendo Switch 1. But those games reviewed great, and that's awesome. But the rest of the games were pretty much around in the same scores. They were around in the 8 out of 10 scores. Splatoon 2, ARMS was the same thing. High 70s for ARMS, low 80s for Splatoon 2. What was it? Fire Emblem Warriors was a mid to low 70s game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a low 80s game. Pokken Tournament, that is a high 70s, low 80s game. Mario Kart World, or Mario Kart 8, I mean, it's a port of but you guys get it, whatever, right? So it's pretty much on par, with the exception of, obviously those two incredible games, but Nintendo did have Donkey Kong Bonanza, which was a 91 plus rated game. So I don't know. I don't see it as anybody being lazy. I don't know. I guess I have to disagree with that statement. Let's see here. Can we please have Super Princess Peach, Lotto, when you are ready? Thank you. Okay, yeah, we'll get that next up. Thanks, Ava. I appreciate it. Let me get this next dono, though. Banana Man content. Let's see here. Banana Man content and coming with all this cope. OJ, I'm not coping with anything. I'm literally just explaining or discussing my own personal thoughts on the reviews when it comes down to it. And I said that, hey, look, people are allowed to have their opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. I don't know what cope means or how I'm supposed to explain things from my point of view without people saying coping. And I'm not saying that people aren't allowed to have their own opinion on the scores and all of that. So, I mean, so it is what it is on that. When it comes to banana reviews overall and all of that, I'm looking at a game called Doom, The Dark Ages. And that's an 83 score. And I'm pretty sure people that love bananas love that game. That was a game that they loved as well. Coming off of Doom Eternal, which is a much higher score. Some of the other Doom games, higher scores. But people still like Doom, The Dark Ages. People that like bananas, if I'm not correct. So I don't think it's cope. I think people are allowed to like what they want to like. And people are allowed to talk about what they want to talk about. And once again, I'm not saying that people aren't allowed to enjoy whatever games. And when Doom came out, The Dark Ages, I wasn't like, oh my god, this game's terrible, because they didn't score as high as Doom Eternal, or Doom 2016. Like, Doom Eternal and Doom Eternal scored an 88, so that's 5 points higher. And Doom 2016 scored high as well, scored a 90. So yeah. Also, Casual Noob, what the heck?
Here's my refund from Nintendo. Please use it to buy someone that low-rated Metroid Prime 4 in a giveaway stream. This should cover game and tax. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you, the village, the family,
Casual
and your
Noob.
channel. Thank you for everything.
Just buy the game. No, you don't need to do all that. Okay, I thought you were joking. I thought you weren't serious. So, Casual Noob, let me know. I'm actually thinking about, I want to, like, refund you that one. Because I think you should pick up the game and have fun and enjoy it. So now I'm not sure if you're being serious or not, because that's a lot from you in particular. So now I'm like wondering, wait a minute, hold up. Are you being serious? You know, with what you're trying to say? Like, now I'm like wondering. So yeah. So Casual Noob, let me know, man. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot. Thank you for the Sage mode. I appreciate that. I appreciate it, man. Though, thank you. I mean, if you're being serious, we already have a giveaways on tap. But thank you, man. I'll do my best. When it comes to that, man, I'll do my best. Let's see here. Xeno 3 is an 83 on meta and still sold the most in the series. Yeah, I think reviews were bound to be lower than the standard. I agree. I knew that the reviews were going to be lower after 18 years. I agree with you, Ahmed. Like, I factored in about 3 points lower. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And once again, I'm not saying, I want to make sure that I'm clear here to KJ, like, or to anybody that wants to clip or anybody that wants to say anything, like, that's fine. It's cool. Nobody's coping. Like, the fact that the scores are the scores. I covered it. I said it was disappointing compared to the other Prime games. I said that. I'm just saying, after reading the reviews, I have a little bit of a different thought. After reading, like, it's one thing to look at the scores and say, this is the score Metacritic. But if you read the reviews, a lot of the lower scores that pushed it to off where I thought it was going to be are essentially saying, I'm a purist. I don't want anybody else in the game. I want it to be like Metro Prime 1.
Sorry, forgot Switch 2 version. Here's the extra with extra 10 plus 1. I bought the game. Merry Christmas.
All right, shout out to Casual Noob. I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you, fam. We'll see what we can do, okay, man? We'll see what we can do. Thank you so much, the Casual Noob. I appreciate that. Getting us to the 100 on the overclock board. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I'm surprised you were actually able to get a refund, to be honest. Anyway, limit breaks. Here we go. Shout outs, man. Appreciate it. I think he's serious. I don't know if he is serious or not. But yeah, you definitely shouldn't get a refund for a game that you're excited about or a game that you want to play because of reviews. Especially because of a review that's a good review. Like, 8 out of 10 is not a bad score. Like, I would never refund a game that I was looking forward to playing because of an 8 out of 10 score or a Metacritic of 81. That just seems ridiculous to me. I've never done that in my life, and I never plan on doing that. So yeah, I don't know if he's joking or if he's, you know, but yeah. No one wants the crusty Switch 1 version. As a Pokemon fan, these reviewers don't know idea of hand-holding is. Let's see here. I bought the game. I didn't get refunded. I was joking. Okay. Thank God you're joking. Shout outs to Casual Dude. Hey, bro. Man, you had me for a little bit. You had me in the first half, fam. You had me in the first half because that's more than you usually drop, man. So I was a little like, you got to be kidding me. All right, let me get an accurate count here. Now that I you had me in the first half, fam. You had me in the first half. Oh man, bro, you had me in the first half for real. You really did. That's what I thought you were joking at first. Like I said, I thought you were joking. I didn't think you were serious. But yeah. Oh man, shout outs to Chrono Rig. Shout outs to everybody that dropped the donos, man. I appreciate that. Let's go. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Dan Dips. All right, let me get an accurate count for you guys, just in case. Make sure we get the accurate count. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm off by 16. I can't count. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Metroid Prime's review score. I'm off. You know what I'm saying? I'm off. I'm a little off. Excuse me. Also, George FT. I've been waiting for 2018 to do a giveaway, please. All right, we'll do a giveaway at my marathon stream for sure. We'll definitely add it because like we got a lot of giveaways to do anyway. So we'll add it into that one. All right, we'll add it into that one like 1,000%. We'll add it into that. All right. IGN reviewer never reviewed a Metroid game before. Doesn't help. Should have had a seasoned Metroid vet review the game. The thing about it though is that if you give it to a seasoned Metroid vet to review the game, I don't even what did IGN? Oh no, IGN gave it to Logan. He's like a seasoned Nintendo guy. But yeah, he gave it like I think he gave it an 8 out of 10. So I don't think that's a bad score. You know, I think the game that just might be what it is in the modern day. Once again, like I think that's just really what it is. Like if you took Metroid Prime 3 and you re-reviewed it in today's day, like and you gave it to new people, it'd probably be like a 7 or 8 out of 10 as well. So I don't know. Like I said, Shout outs to George FT with the $10 donut. Says, I think some of the reviews for Prime 4 came up as those who just wanted 4K Prime 1. I'm personally excited. Critic scores don't phase me. Xenoblade 2 had an MC of 83 and one of my faves. Yeah, exactly. Same thing like I said with people, you know, that were excited for Doom or excited for whatever the case is, you know, like, I get it though. Like, I get some of the concerns, which those were beforehand. But once again, like, when I read the reviews, they make it seem as if Miles McKenzie or these Federation troopers are like literally like party members, like a JRPG, like they're Pyra and Mithra, and you know, and it's like Rex, Pyra, Mithra, or it's like Future Redeemed or something like that. Some of them, and maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit because I did read them this morning early, so maybe I'm misremembering. But some of them are making it seem that type of way, like they're hand holding the whole time, that they're with you the whole time, and that's not the case. Like, that's just from what I've seen and from what the reviews that are from non-super purists are saying. They're not saying that. And like I said, I've got this tweet or I got this video from Digital Foundry as well that talks about it too, where John Lindemann, who is a seasoned Metroid Prime fan, who's been playing the games for a very long time, played all the old school games, he says that they're barely around. They don't even really, are around. So it's like, that's why it's kind of like mixed signals. So yeah, like, you know, it's just weird. It's just a little weird on my end, on what I'm seeing. Shout outs to Verus 2K6 says pre-ordered, hope Retro rethinks courting casuals. I don't think that they need to do that unless you, like I said, unless you're trying to say that they're not allowed to do their vision or bring. I mean, I don't know if the game is better if you say no other NPCs, you know, or no other characters in the game, or hey, like, we can't have a tutorial stage. Like, I don't know if the game is worse because of that. So yeah. Yeah, I don't think that the name of the game is called Beyond because it goes beyond what Metroid Prime is. I think the name of the game is Beyond because they're transported to a beyond area that's beyond the outreach of where they are at the beginning. I think that's why it's called Beyond New Nintendo. Not because they went beyond what the previous Metroid Prime 4 games are, or Metroid Prime games are, because it's called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. The subtitles usually to explain what happens in the game, not outside of the game in comparison to the other games. So I think you have a misreading on why games are named in the first place. They're not named to be some type of outside reference to the first or second or third game and going better than that. They're named usually because of what happens in the game. That's usually what names of games are for. Like Metroid Prime Corruption is not named Corruption because it's more corrupt than Metroid Prime 1 and 2. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is not named Echoes because it's an echo compared to 1. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like, so subtitles are usually based off of the actual what happens in the game, not because of what you think it is compared to the other games. If that makes sense, if that makes sense at all. So like, yeah, like when Metroid Prime 3 came out, I was like, oh, this game is corrupt compared to Metroid Prime 1 and 2, or even like Metroid Prime Hunters. Well, it's called Hunters because you're hunting. It's the multiplayer. It's like, that's the reason why it's called that. Other M is called Other M because of the other, you know, like, you get what I'm saying? Fusion is called Fusion because you're fusing with different life forms. You know, so yeah, I think the closest thing that we have to what you're talking about is maybe Super Metroid, because Super Metroid is called Super because it's on a Super Nintendo compared to a regular Nintendo, you know, compared to an NES. So that maybe be that's the closest thing, you know. But like Samus Returns, you know, returns back, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, most of the time subtitles are based off what's in the game, not comparing it to the other games in some type of, you know, fourth wall breaking thing, you know. Shaw X with the $10 dono, and says, I don't, IDGAF, what the Metacritic says, I'm still picking up MP4 after Yote, and Digimon, and possibly Neo 3. It's a lot of games, but I'm picking it up. Whew. You got yourself a lot to work with there. A lot to work with. So yeah. Let's see here. Where's Connor? Let's talk Kirby. We're not talking Kirby today. We're not talking Kirby. 2 Metroid, 2 Prime. OJ, I have a question. I said Nintendo keeps Metroid Prime because of word of mouth reviews. Those reviews of mine a problem for the franchise series? Yes, absolutely. That's definitely going to be a problem when it comes to some people. Now, here's the thing though. It can be good and it can be bad. For people that are new to the series, and if they hear, hey, there's other characters and there's stuff like that, that could actually prompt them to get it. However, for other people that are maybe are Metacritic people or people that are just like, oh, well, the game reviews well, so let me check it out. Those people might be deterred from getting it. So, yeah, people that are big Metroid Prime fans, they're going to buy it regardless. It doesn't matter what the score was. I mean, like, people are going to buy it. The hardcore Metroid Prime fans are going to buy the game. There's about probably 1 to 2 million hardcore Metroid Prime fans that are going to buy Metroid Prime regardless. They're going to always buy it. So you're going to get those sales regardless. However, the other people, that's where I think it's going to struggle in some sense compared to others. Now, once again, once people actually play the game, that will be the big difference more so than anything. I think a game like Kirby, you look at the review scores, nothing super impressive overall, but the word of mouth on that game, even though it has lower scores, is absolutely incredible, and it's being pushed by people saying, I don't care that's a 7 or 8 out of 10, the game is incredible, I'm going to play it, you know? So Metroid Prime 4 could have the same thing here, could. Let's see here, Mario Kart World 1.4 update out now, patch notes, custom items, track layout changes, much more. Oh man, here we go again. But why did I have to do this? Why does Nintendo have to do this right before Metroid Prime? I'm already up to my eyeballs in content and stuff to the point where I'm carrying a pen in my hand and I'm writing things down in between my videos and in between stuff because I have so many ideas, I have so many games to talk about, I have so many games to play that I have my freaking paper and it fell because the fan that I have here, but because I'm writing things down on pen and paper, otherwise I'll forget them because I'm old. Nintendo, please stop doing this, you lazy, no good for nothing weirdos. So yeah. Jeff Grubb's Giant Bomb had a discussion on the reviewer who awarded it a 10 out of 10, and he says that it's definitely better than Prime 2 and 3, but holding off on placing it. I did see your video, Jackson. Me personally, once again, I think Prime 3 is the best out of them, and I'm stupid. So don't take my word for it, because I'm not a purist of Metroid Prime. I don't think isolation is what Metroid Prime, oh, I am isolated. Like, I've never thought that. If you watch all my stuff with Metroid Prime that I've ever done, I've never talked about I'm isolated. Like, that's never been a thing that I've just, and no hate towards people that think that way. Sorry, I'm being a little ecstatic. No hate towards people who think that way. But I've never felt like, this is what I love the most about Metroid is because I'm isolated. What I like about Metroid is the gameplay. I like the gameplay. I like the fact that Samus can run around and shoot things and grab and jump on things, and you can hit people with missiles, and you can go get different powers and upgrades. That's what I like about it. I don't care about isolation. Like, nobody cares that she's isolated. At least, I don't care. That doesn't matter. She can be isolated. She can have people with her. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That's not what makes Metroid Prime great. That's not what makes Metroid Dread great. If Metroid Dread had you talking to some NPCs in between the game at some point, which they did with Ravenbeak, I'd be like, all right, cool, no problem. Like, it's not a big deal to me. I don't care. Which is very different from Super Metroid and very different from, Metroid 2, or very different from the original Metroid, right? And like, I didn't care. It is what it is. It's all within the confines of what the game does. If the game sets it up okay, and if it's not bad, or if it's something that I enjoy, or if I like the characters, then it's that. I don't think it's like, oh, since Metroid Prime didn't do that, that means this game doesn't do that. Like, I don't think that way. And that's the reason why maybe I like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom, a lot more than Zelda purists. Zelda purists don't like that game as much. A lot of them don't like that game as much because it doesn't do what the previous games did to what they like. But for me, I never, believe it or not, I never felt, I know this sounds crazy because this is what the game is, but I never liked Zelda the most or a lot because of dungeons. I liked it because I felt that it controlled well and that it played fun and that Link was cool. That's the reason why I played Legend of Zelda, not because of a bunch of dungeons. I played it because I thought it controlled well and the gameplay was fun. Yeah, there's puzzles, yeah, there's dungeons, but that wasn't the be-all, end-all for Zelda. And I know, that's crazy. I'm weird. I get it. But at the same time, I honestly, guys, that's not the reason why I played Legend of Zelda. I played it because it controlled well and the gameplay was fun. That's it, Shout outs to the casual noob with the dollar dono. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the dollar. It says, for clarification, use the donos. Which told 78, please give way for Metroid Prime 4 up to Switch 2 edition. Please spread the love of Metroid Prime 4, love and sales count, and RGT can't wear the crown and scepter ever again. Well, I don't think there was any bet with that one, so I think the crown and scepter, which he should have definitely like not worn both of them, the crown and scepter, because the game definitely sold over 3 million units, and we got that number before the end of the year. We just don't know exactly when before the end of the year, because the Metroid Prime producer stated that it was 3 million plus. So yeah. And that was in 2022. He said that before the end of December. He said 3 million plus. So yeah. Shout outs to Jacob. Says with the 5 says, I think Prime 4 will do fine because of the massive marketing push Nintendo is doing to the holidays. Walmart's entire section is all Nintendo. Maybe. Thank you for the $5, Jacob. I appreciate that. The funny thing about Alien Isolation is I think there's other characters on Alien Isolation as well too. So, or like Dead Space or whatever. Yeah, I think Prime 5 will be a Switch 2 exclusive. Nintendo's already stated that they're done with Switch 1. They're pretty much done with Switch 1 after their current crop of games. I don't see another major game for Switch 1 outside of this year. I think it's done. Really, Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven, those are smaller games that are fine on Switch 1, that run perfect on Switch 1 or not bad on Switch 1. But there's really no Switch 1 games set, like major Switch 1 games set for 2026 in terms of like AAA, unless Nintendo brings up something else. But it seems like Pokemon, Zelda, 3D Mario, all of those are gonna, like, next Xenoblade or next Monolith Soft game. Fire Emblem is not on Switch 1. They could have maybe made that game for Switch 1. That's a Switch 2 exclusive. So yeah, I don't really see any other big Nintendo games for Switch 1. So yeah. All right, let's get shout outs to Casual Noob, and shout outs to Jacob. Appreciate that. Thank you for the 5 as well. Appreciate you, fam. So yeah. Well, yeah, Prime 4 is the top seller right now. We'll see how it does long term. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button. When I play Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, I'm not gonna go crazy like these Metroid fans. I'm gonna hate on the game because of certain things. I'm gonna enjoy the game. Well, once again, it's okay, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about this for the Clippers or for the people. I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. Like, once again, like, people are allowed to have their opinion. I'm not saying that it's unjustified. You know, if they want to score it, they can score it. That I just read it. That's like, I read the reviews, and I'm not a Metroid Prime purist. I'm not a Samus needs to be in isolation. There should be no other characters. Samus isn't allowed to speak to anybody else. There's not allowed to be tutorial. I'm not a Metroid Prime purist. I've been playing the game since day one. I've been playing Metroid since day one. The original Metroid on the NES, like 1986, 1987, whatever the case is. I played that, beat that. That game sucked. But it sucked in terms of difficulty, but I played it, and I liked it. But it was back then, man. Games were different back then. But I played that game. I played Super Metroid. I played Metroid 2. You know, I played Metroid Fusion. I played Metroid Other M. I played all these different games. You know, I've played all these different Metroid games, and I've always judged them in whatever the game is. Like, how's the game play? How does it feel to play? Whatever. If there's something that I don't like based off of a previous thing, it's usually gameplay focused and not story focused. It's not like having to do with other characters. Like, that's usually my thing. Once again, usually my thing. So if there's a bad gameplay decision, then I'll bring that up. But for me, like, having another character in a game or anything, like, that doesn't make it like, oh, it's terrible now, because that's not what like, no, I don't care. You know, and like I said, that's always been my thought process with pretty much every game. All games in series. So yeah. Let's see. If gameplay is the reason you love Metroid, does that make drag and drive your most beloved game? What does that even mean, dude? Like, I don't even know. Dude, what are you talking about? Like, what does Metroid Prime? What does that mean? What does drag and drive have to do with Metroid? Are you okay, Nukem Nintendo? Are you all right? Like, I think you're like trolling me. Let's see, stuff. OG, I'm still getting Metroid. Me too, man. Yo, what's up, man? Don't care about the score it got Metroid Prime 4. Also, OJ, Mario Kart World Update just dropped. Yes, I'm aware of Mario Kart World Update, guys. We'll get to that. I think it's just a nonsensical joke. Okay, yeah, I think it's just a silly joke. I played Drag and Drive, and the gameplay it would be a good game if I didn't have to go like this. You know? I need an automatic wheelchair. I need one with the auto control. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need an automatic one. I don't... I need an auto wheelchair, bro. I don't need a one that I gotta physically do it. If I was in a wheelchair, bro, I'm using the automatic. And I get it. It's like wheelchair basketball or wheelchair rugby or wheelchair whatever, where you gotta actually use your arms. It's better for exercise and all that. But not me, man. I'm gonna have that baby motorized. I'm gonna put maybe a rocket on the back just in case if I need some NOS. You know, I'm gonna deck mine out. I'm gonna have some spinners on that wheelchair. I'm gonna deck it out. So yeah, man. Like, the gameplay to me was the problem. The game, like how you play the game. The game itself, when it comes to like the concept, it's kind of cool. Like, if I could use an analog stick and just use motion controls for like the dunking, it'd be fine. But I just don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this and this and this. Like, I just don't feel like playing a game like that. To keep it a buck, like it's annoying. If they made it to where you can use analog, maybe like there's like separate lobbies for people that can use analog, I'd totally play it. Or if like my son was old enough and he wanted to just play like casually, sure, you know, but I don't feel like doing this over and over, and like it just didn't work for me controls gameplay wise, you know. Yeah, hit me with that Tesla wheelchair for sure. Let's see. I think there'll definitely be a Prime 5. Sounds like Retro was a bit handicapped having to limit their ideation to Switch 1. Even they did some graphical upscaling for Switch 2. More than graphical upscaling. In terms of things, obviously double the frame rate is big, but I don't really think the reason why the scores were lowered because there was being held back by Switch 1. People are complaining about certain story segments or certain story things. That doesn't get any better if you're on Switch 2 only. That doesn't mean all of a sudden the story is going to be way better because you write the story and you write in the characters. So that doesn't change if you remove the limitations. Better hardware power doesn't all of a sudden mean that you're gonna like a character if you don't like a character, if you don't think a character should be in the game. Like, you know, VGC's review, oh, I don't like any of the characters in the game, or I don't want them there, or I don't want to have any. That doesn't change if you have if you're just only on Switch 2, or if you have better graphics. All that is oh, now I have better graphics and this character that I don't like. I don't think it's based off of that, personally. I don't think that's it. From the reviews that I read, at least. I don't think, none of them said, oh my god, from a technological standpoint, Metroid Prime 4 is just handicapped by it being on Switch 1. Nobody said that. Everyone said in the Switch 2 review that from a technological standpoint, this is by far the best, from a technological standpoint, game that Nintendo's released this year. Correct HDR implementation, 120 FPS, very smooth frame rate, different types of control schemes.
We're so close to getting a jukebox in World now. It shows you what song is playing in the pause menu, and you can make music louder.
Okay.
Also now you can easily unlock all characters.
Okay.
Can I get athletic theme? Soul Beer.
I told
Super
you.
Mario 3D World from Mario Kart.
I told you guys that it's the long game with Mario Kart World. Nintendo, a lot of people think that Nintendo's just going to give up on it and they're never going to update it, or that they're going to they're not going to, dude, they're going to constantly upgrade the game and make it better and better, and by the time that we get 7 years into the future, it's going to be a lot better game than what we got at launch. That's how they did with Mario Kart 8. That's how they're going to do it now with this game, you know? So they're going to take their time and they're going to update it and make sure they release it when it's ready. So yeah. Let's see. Just let Retro cook. People on the internet are ridiculous. For me, Metroid Prime games are not about Metroidvania aspect. Okay. I don't know if it can still sell 5 or 6 million. That'd be tough, but we'll see. I never really thought it could do that. I mean, I thought maybe if all things lined, the stars aligned, but I was thinking more like 3-4 million. 5 million would be like at the top, you know? It's possible though, for sure. Will the higher frame rate actually make motion sickness worse? No. Motion sickness actually gets better, or less of a problem when you have a higher frame rate. Motion sickness for me in games, when a game is choppy and it's in first person, that creates more of a motion sickness and issues than it being higher frame rate, more fidelity. Although I think I'll probably play a lot of the game like in portable mode or tabletop mode with the Pro controller. I think I'm gonna, because like that way, if I sit far back and I have a small screen and it's all the way there and I play with the Pro Controller, like right here at my desk, that right there is probably not going to get me motion sickness at all. I didn't experience any motion sickness, you know, when I played the game at Best Buy. So yeah. Let's see here. With the high, so yeah. Honestly, the red flag I'm seeing for me is the companions look super cringe, but it's a minor thing. I prefer more serious tone, but it's Nintendo. I still think it's 9 out of 10 when it's done. Yeah, once again, if you read, let's go right here, and I'll give you guys an example. I don't think that the other characters in the game are like super cringe or anything. I really don't think that. So yeah. I don't think so. But once again, we will see. We will see. So one person says, yeah, Giant Bomb discussion said it was pretty much a non-issue when it comes to the characters or the hand-holding or anything. So Giant Bomb, they gave it a 10 out of 10. They had a discussion on the game. They played it all the way through. They said it was a non-issue. Now, John Lindman as well, like I said, once again, we got to play it ourselves. But I'm not just going to take what some of the reviews say and run with it. We got to, like, a lot of times what people are doing, and they're taking what's negative and say, oh, see, look, I told you. But then they're ignoring what people are saying on the other side. So while I'm acknowledging, yeah, that could be a thing, I don't think it is. Because, like, this isn't a thing that's, like, you can, like, mess this one up. Like, this isn't like a, if you play through the game, it's not like, oh, no, they're in there all the time and they're there and they're hand-holding the whole way. It's not like, it's not objective. It's either it is or it isn't. There's not, you guys get what I'm saying? It's either they're there the whole time and they're like companions and they're annoying and they're there, or they're not. Or they're there at the beginning and there's some parts and it's small and they're not. Like, I don't think it's like, there's like a lot of I don't know if there's nuance to this. So I think, here's what I think is happening. What I think is happening is that purists who want just Metroid Prime are annoyed with anybody else being in the game. Whether it's good or not, whether the acting is good or not, whatever, they don't care. That's what I'm thinking. I read the reviews. So here's what Digital Foundry said about that. Because I clipped one part of it because I thought, okay, well, maybe there is a thing, but I don't think so. So here's what Digital Foundry said.
So what about the action then? Well, at its core, the controls, movement, combat, and platforming feel spot on, like a direct continuation of the series lineage. But if you were paying attention to previews, you would be familiar with concerns about the new helper character, Miles McKenzie. But his role is a lot less intrusive than expected. Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation. Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation. Miles sets up a base in Fury Green and then largely stays there, rarely interrupting comms, which is a good thing.
Versus, do you hear what I'm hearing? Nobody cares about other characters and cinematic moments. We don't want partner missions. Listen, and listen very well.
Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation, intrusive than expected. Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation. Miles sets up a base in Fury Green and then largely stays there, rarely interrupting comms, which is a good thing. What previews did not reveal, however, is that you encounter
Now here's the part that you're talking about.
Other survivors as well, who then join Miles at camp while you continue on your adventure. These characters appear briefly in cutscenes with some occasional dialogue, but never to an annoying degree, and in fact you kind of come to like them over time. Compared with some occasional dialogue.
Let's hear that again. So before we get into this next part, that's what I'm saying, guys. I need to play the game myself. A lot of you guys that are saying that they did this, that they put all these partner missions and all these characters that are interrupting and all this hand holding. Literally, he says that, no, that's not it. So like I think I gotta play it myself, but I think it's purists who don't want other characters at all. They want zero, nothing, by yourself. That's what I think that it is. There is no, they're annoying, they're in the whole game and they're hand-holding the whole time to oh, they're at a base and you see them in a cutscene and maybe a mission or two and they're like, there is no in between here, guys. It's either one person is exaggerating when it comes down to it, or they're not. This isn't an objective thing. Like this isn't objective. This isn't like, well, I don't know, you know? This isn't. It's either one or the other. The people that are saying they're interrupting, they're in the game, they're doing this, they're exaggerating, or they're not. Or John Lindman is an idiot, and he has no idea what he's talking about. So that's why I said I need to play it. That's why I said I don't put stock into every single review. And that's why I said it's good to try it out yourself so you know, or at least watch gameplay or something. You can't take what purists have to say at face value because somebody else will probably say something different. And John has no, I mean, he runs Digital Foundry. He has no, like, oh man, I have to say good things. He'll say bad things about the screen. He said bad things in this review. He said bad things about the screen, how it's not good, and the HDR implementation. So it's not like he was glazing every single aspect about Metroid Prime 4. He wasn't doing that. But he's talking about this in respect to the previews and to the game, and it seems like he's played a ton of the game at this point. And shout outs to him for not spoiling the game. Yeah, like it's either one or the other, guys. Like it's not like anything in between, you know? Or John's lying. It's like, or John's lying, you know? I'll repeat this again.
Encounter other survivors as well, who then join Miles at camp while you continue on your adventure. These characters appear briefly in cutscenes with some occasional dialogue, but never to an annoying degree, and in fact, you kind of come to like them over time. Compare this to Metroid Prime 3's lengthy introduction with the constant chatter. This really is a non-issue. It doesn't fully recap.
You guys hear that last point?
Is a non-issue. This really is a non-issue. This really is a non-issue.
So when I say certain things, guys, a lot of you guys think that I just say things just sort of defend something. And it's not that. If something is something, I'll call it like I see it. But if I call rage bait, or if I call a purist being a purist, and it's really the non-issue for most people, it's generally because I'm looking at it logically with non-purist eyes. A lot of times, purists, bro, they don't want nothing to change. If there's one thing that's changed, they'll sit there and cry Bloody Mary, you know, that it's the worst thing in the world. That there's hand holding, they've changed it. How dare that person tell me a hint? How dare them? How dare there be another character in the game? And that's how I'm reading things. Once again, this is not objective. This is either one or the other. You've got either John is lying and he doesn't know what he's talking about with the characters and the integration and all of that, or these purists are exaggerating, which that's why I'm more leaning more like purists exaggerating more so than John lying or downplaying. I think John is going in logical, thinking about it normal, whereas purist reviewers, some who really love and who have already, you know, like I said, they're getting emotional about it, you know, saying that Nintendo's lazy now and things like that. I think that there's an emotional attachment that's causing some people to exaggerate. That's all. Not that they're not allowed to have their opinions and their emotions and their feelings, but I just think that some outlets are doing that. They're letting their emotions for a 20-something-year-old game of how they like it to be played, maybe their favorite game of all time or one of their favorite games of all time, they're allowing a little subtle change here or there completely dictate how they feel about the stretch of things. Now, once again, he played it. I haven't. Shout outs to VGC, shout outs to all them. So I can't sit there and say that he's totally wrong. But the problem is that I see John looking at it from somebody who's not, you know, crazy Metroid Prime 1, purist, isolation, blah, 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 that didn't go overboard with that and said, okay, well, when it comes out, it comes out. I'll play it. I'll try it out, right? So there's something wrong, right? There's something off about this, you know? There's definitely something off about this. Let's see here. So yeah, We're playing 10 seconds from one review, but countless other agreement about the weakest parts of the desert NPCs is just misleading. Well, I haven't talked about the desert yet and all of that. I think John went over the desert part. He said from a technological standpoint, it's great. Nintendo Life, I don't know how much stock you guys put into their reviews. I don't put a lot of stock into their reviews. I don't put a lot of stock into anybody's reviews, but especially their reviews. But they say that the desert parts were great. Other people say that it's not great. So I think it's really going to be based on how you feel, like your own personal thought process. Like when you play the game, you might love the desert riding the bike part. Some people might think it's fun to do that. Some people might think that it's not fun to do that. So it's up to that. So yeah. I don't think people took 2 points off because of the desert NPCs. I'm not sure if that's the case. When I read the reviews, I'm not sure if that's the case. Once again, but based off of what I'm seeing here, you know, you said that there's a bunch of escort missions and all that type of stuff. Versus that's what you just said. Now you're pivoting. You're kind of pivoting to what they say. You're not going based off of what you think. You're just going based off of what they say. And so I think it's gonna be interesting when you actually play the game and it becomes a non-issue, or if it is a non-issue, or if you've already convinced yourself in your mind that it is an issue and it's going to be an issue, so I know I'm going to have an issue. So you're confirming whatever you already feel like thinking beforehand, instead of kind of going into it like with a fresh mind. But once again, everybody's entitled to do whatever they want. I don't care how you look at it, how you do it. I'm going into it like with a fresh thought process, like, hey, look, I don't care. You know, if these people don't like something, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna like it, or I'm not gonna not like it, or whatever the case is. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like it if they like it. I'm gonna play it myself, and I'm gonna evaluate it from there. I'm not going to say they said it, so therefore they're right, and screw my opinion and screw what I think. I'm simply showing you guys this because you and other people tried to claim that there's a bunch of escort missions and there's a bunch of annoying hand holding and they're in there all the time, and that's not the case. That is now you're pivoting to, oh, well, it's because they annoying NPCs and this. He didn't even say that there's annoying NPCs. You know what I'm saying? And they're not there all the time. So no, you know? So once again, you guys are allowed to do whatever you want. You know, if you want to take it as it's the worst because of that and already have your mind set up, go ahead. I don't do that with reviews, but I like to be fair and go over the good and the bad in terms of what people are saying beforehand. However, once I play it myself, I could completely disagree. And I am never going to completely agree with what people are saying online. That is the last thing that you and anybody should do, is just blindly just say, okay, yes, that's what it is, no matter what, and not even give your own like take personally. Or at least look at what other people are saying, because you're spinning it as 100% they're right and ignoring everybody else that thinks differently. And but yet you want me to accept what you're saying, but you're not looking at the other side either. You're just saying, no, I'm right no matter what. That's why, that's the score. And you're not saying, okay, well, maybe it might be different for other people, or maybe it might be different for you, you know? So yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Not fresh at all. Gameplay shows that they aren't replaced NPC nursery. You can watch all the gameplay yourself. Yeah, once again, I'm going to have to disagree with that, based off of what I've seen. I've seen a gameplay, and I've seen what John said here, and I'm not so sure if that's the case. So once I play it myself, I'll give you the final, how about this, versus, so we can kind of just put this to bed. I'll give you the final verdict myself when I play it, okay? I'll give you the final verdict myself when I play it. I don't go off of what reviewers say in terms of that shapes what a game is, what the score is for me. So how about that? I'll give my own take on that. The game will be awesome. All the reviews I've seen from fans of the series absolutely love the game. Yeah, they said the game's really good. So, I mean, I'm not sure even what the issue is, you know, what he's even talking about here. But once again, like I said, there was a pivot. First, it was, there's too many escort missions, they're hand holding and all this stuff. And then when John said this, then he pivoted to something else. But that's okay. It's no big deal. Let's see, the game, seems like people overreacted. You're still getting isolation from the old games? Yes, people did it seems, once again, unless John is lying here in his review and what he had to say, you know, unless he's lying, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Once again, there are people that are saying that it's incredible. Like I said, there's 10 out of 10, there's 9 out of 10s, there's high 8s, there's a lot of really good scores around where I thought it was going to be. There's some lower scores. So once again, I think it's going to be, you play it yourself, you see what you think yourself, and then you kind of go from there. But once again, I am looking at both. I understand and I acknowledge the whole desert situation. Like, I get that. Some people aren't gonna like it, but are they gonna not like it because it's Metroid, or are they gonna not like it because it's actually bad gameplay? So once again, I will see myself. There are people that say that, you know, Legend Breath of the Wild's gameplay is terrible in the open field, that it needs to be more like dungeons, and I completely disagree with that, right? They say, oh, it's empty, it's terrible. There are some reviews that said that. I completely disagree with that. Now, obviously, there's way more people that said it was great, you know? There was way more people that said it was great, but there still were reviews that were saying that it's terrible. Or even like weapon breaking mechanics, right? There's some reviews that were saying weapon breaking is the worst thing ever. There's some people that are saying weapon breaking is really good. That's very different from a Zelda standpoint, right? So it's always gonna be one of those things that you have to play yourself and see the mechanic yourself, more so than just saying this is what they say, they're right no matter what. Like, I get it. It's gonna acknowledge it. I'm not saying that they're wrong 100%. So I want to make sure that I'm very clear with that. You're entitled to your opinion, and you're allowed to have that. But I'm not just going to agree with them 1,000% based off of everything that I have read and saw so far. But if you want to already, once again, confirm that it's one way or another based off of what you saw, that's fine too. And we'll find out when we all play it, right? If you do play it. So let's see. As long as it retains the backtracking Metroidvania roots, Ace in the hole for him. I'm with you. I don't like the 5-star system reviews. 10-point system is needed for all the nuance of video games. I think so, but like I said, there was a Nintendo Forecast talked about that more. Like I said, I don't recall exactly what he said 100%, but like what he said was like realistic in terms of like the 5-point score versus the 10-point score and kind of like some stuff like that. So yeah, it is what it is. Essentially, it is what it is, you know. So yeah, the reaction seriously makes me feel like they haven't played Prime 2 and 3 of those games. Also had NPCs. No, they've played them. Once again, they feel differently on how it's implemented in this game. So yeah. So yeah. Let's see. This reaction seriously makes me feel like oh, hold up, I already read that. Shout outs to Octave. Let's see, people are always are so weird with the whole weapon breaking. Oh my gosh, I don't want to use my weapon because they break. Well, listen, I'm not here to open up the weapon breaking can of worms. We already had a lot of discussion. That raged on for years, for Breath of the Wild, obviously in 2017, all the way to Tears of the Kingdom in 2023, and then past that. So we're on like, we're going on a decade of the weapon breaking mechanic. So it's almost like Other M, where people still discuss like the situation like with Other M, like that still gets brought. I mean, I brought it up today, but I brought up Other M in comparison to review score, not in comparison to like any of the actual gameplay mechanics in the game. So yeah. Mario Kart World had a pretty sizable update. Yes, I know. Just another. I know. I've had at least 6 or 7 people tell me Mario Kart World had an update. I know. We're still talking about Metroid though. We're still talking about Metroid. So yeah, the weapon breaking arc lasted a whole generation. I think this will be a good test for Nintendo brand loyalty and install base. If they can power Prime 4 to the best-selling game in the Metroid franchise, it is a great sign for future Switch 2 releases. I don't think this is some type of indication in terms of releases for Switch 2. I don't think so. I don't think Metroid dictates what's going to happen for the future of Nintendo Switch 2 releases. Metroid's not a super popular franchise and all of that, so I don't think Metroid ever dictates anything. It's just not a big enough franchise to do so, even if it scored really high. So for example, Metroid Prime on the GameCube, that was incredible, game of the year, all that good stuff. But like that didn't dictate anything when it comes to other games, or that didn't dictate anything when it comes to the system sales or anything like that. So I see what you're trying to say, but I think that's putting too much on a series that's really not it's like, in terms of popularity, it's like a C or D tier franchise for Nintendo, like probably like a C tier franchise when it comes to like popularity and sales or people just buying the game. So I don't think it dictates anything, in my opinion at least. But once again, I see what you're trying to say for sure. All right. So for those who are hounding me about Mario Kart World, I will go over the Mario Kart World update for those who keep on hounding me and keep on saying it, even though I've said multiple times, I hear you, okay? So, Mario Kart World Update 1.4 for those. Hey, did you know Mario Kart World got an update? Hey, Mario Kart World got an update. Mario Kart World got an update. Did you know that Mario Kart World got an update? Mario Kart World got an update. Did you know? Oh my gosh. Dane with the dollar dono. I appreciate it. Dane with the dollar says, I'm playing MP1 right now to finish before Prime 4. The main benefit of all this isolation is that I'm able to watch the stream while playing it. Otherwise, I'm actually looking forward to having a few Federation Troopers companions in Metroid Prime 4. Don't expect it to be like they're around all the time. Once again, they're there. You save some of them. You do like a short little thing with them. Then they go back to the base and that's that. So don't expect it to be some type of long, you know, escort mission throughout the whole thing. Or they're like your party members like Xenoblade or something like that. So yeah. No, it's okay. No problem. Mario Kart World Update 1.4 out now. Patch notes, custom items, track layout changes, and much more. All right, here we go. Here we go again. Mario Kart World Update version 1.4. Okay, added custom items to the rules. Custom items to the item rules. This feature lets you set which items appear. This is supported in Versus Race, Balloon Battle, Coin Runners, and Room in online play or wireless play. Okay, made it so that music track name and source title of the track that is playing will be displayed on the pause menu. That's really good. Added music volume to settings controller. Made it to where players who gather in a room of online play can participate in race, knockout, tour, and battle. Room in online. Could you not do that before? Race, knockout, tour, and battle? So up to 4 players can participate in race, knockout, tour, and battle. Are these things that are new? Party man, can you help me out here? Can you help me out here? What does this made it so players who gather in a room of online play can participate in race, knockout, tour, and battle? Didn't we already do that? We were in a room and we played race, we played knockout, tour, we played battle. Up to 4 players can participate in race, knockout, tour, and battle. Is this like local or something? But it says of online play. Made it so you can join in friends who are playing knockout tour from friends in 2P online play as well. No, that's a mistranslation. Okay, yeah, I'd say that's something wrong there. Added restart and next race in the pause menu for versus race and single player. Next race in the pause menu for versus race and single player. Okay, made it to where you can select photo mode from the pause menu and race against Ghost. Changed the course layout below for versus race or race in online play or wireless play. Race that heads to Koopa Troopa Beach to DK Spaceport. Race that heads to Koopa Troopa. What does all this mean, bro? Like, this is like, I need Party Man or somebody that plays this game religiously to help me break, like, race that heads to Koopa Troopa Beach to Crown City. Race that heads to Koopa Troopa Beach to Peach Stadium. Bro, like, what is, like, change course layout? What does that mean? Race that heads to Desert Hills to Koopa Troopa Beach? Like, bro, what does that mean? Like, somebody explain it to me better. Changed it so that in all races heading towards Koopa Troopa Beach, including the above courses, you will cross the finish line after 2 laps once you arrive at Koopa Troopa Beach. Dude, I'm about to stomp on a Koopa Troopa right now, bro. Let's see here. Did AI write? You will now dash when riding on Manta ramps back. Made it so a player will not hit Dragon Meal when transformed into a Bullet Bill. Okay. Made it to where a player cannot use a second Boo while already using a Boo when holding 2 Boo. What, bruh? Made it to so a player cannot use a second Boo while using a Boo while already using a Boo when holding 2 Boos. I got Boos on Boos, got Boos on Boos. I got Boo here and a Boo. You get a Boo and you get a Boo. So yeah. Made it to where when dash food is taken by someone, shorten the time until dash food reappears when coin placed on water is okay, whatever. And then fixed a bunch of the issues with online, with like just a variety of different issues with the gameplay. A ton of issues. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway, change Super Mario's clothes to clean clothes, bruh. Wow, this update really changes it changes everything. Career Air Writers talk about anime has over 100 episodes. It'll only grow the channel. What? What are you talking about? Let's see. It basically makes it to where intermission to those tracks are now 2 laps instead of one of the one. Okay. Oh, sure. So, is this a party man? How about this? Is this a good update or is this a bad update? And what else do they need to do further for this when it comes to Mario Kart World? What else is there? Let me know. The 4-player thing means it's an online group system where you can have the 4 players and have them play online with random, so similar to Crossworlds in a sense. Oh. Okay, so instead of having to just like randomly go into it and your friends kind of just hop in, you can like get into a 4-man like thing and then go into the online play together. Is that what you're talking about there? Okay, that's definitely good. Kevin with the $2 dono says, what's up, OJ? How are you? Can I get any music from Metroid Dread? Yeah, any music from Metroid Dread, sure. Thank you for the 2. Metroid Dread music. There we go. Yes, I could never get into randoms with friends. Okay, yeah. So I think that it's a good update. So in that sense, right? So we're gonna have to check out Mario Kart World for sure at the marathon stream. I've talked to my wife about it, and I think we're gonna be able to do it potentially this weekend, this Saturday. So I'm gonna confirm it. I'm gonna take a little bit of time off maybe tomorrow. We're gonna confirm it. So maybe we're gonna have that on Saturday for the marathon stream. If not this Saturday, next Saturday for sure. So it's good for quality of life. Some stuff needs some stuff, but it needs more big good updates. Okay, got you, party man. So yeah, definitely there's some stuff that I know that's good for sure. Combo breaks. Yeah, definitely need some more stuff. So yeah, they're gonna keep on pounding away at it. It appears. Limit break 5.5. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Let me replay this too. Not every game can be Sonic Crossworlds. I know it can be better than Sonic Crossworlds. I've seen people play Sonic Crossworlds and it looks like just a bunch of intermission tracks as well, just with more flashing colors and lights everywhere. People talking about laps, bro. There's a lot of just straightaways and just going like this. Same damn thing. No, it's fine though. It's fine. Let's see here. You know about Mario Kart update? Did you know about the drag and drive update? I did know about the drag and drive update, which people were not talking about the drag and drive update. So, let's see here. The biggest thing for me is custom items. Finally, it didn't take 10 years. Yeah, it didn't take 10 years to get the custom items. Literally, I've watched so much Mario Kart or so much Sonic Crossworlds. It's literally just. It's not even like it's like. Hella, like a lot of it is just like this, like a lot of it is just swerving in like a line. So like I don't know, but yeah. Bubblegum Crisis. What's up, Bubblegum Crisis? I love that name. I hope there's a track pack for Mario Kart World eventually. I don't know how it'll work, but it'd be more locations. Oh yeah, they'll probably just like drop like a new area. Like, hey, you can go over to this area. Almost kind of like the Rainbow Road situation. Like, you can go over here and like there's a track over here. Or they add it in between, or they do something like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll add stuff like that in the future. Just like I said, they're gonna keep on adding. Like I said, people forget Mario Kart 8, man. People really forget how Mario Kart 8 dropped. But I'm telling you, Mario Kart 8 dropped with tournaments not working, with things not working, with fire hopping being a thing. With all sorts, like, not a ton of tracks, not a ton of characters, a lot of updates that needed that game to be where it was today. So I think people, they saw Mario Kart, 8, and how that was. And then 3 years later, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And Deluxe, more people played Deluxe than 8. I know everyone on the internet acts like they played 8 Vanilla. They're a bunch of liars. Do not believe people when they say, I played a bunch. No, a lot of these people are lying. They got it. They didn't get a Wii U. They didn't have a Wii U. They probably played Mario Kart 8 at a friend's house or maybe one time or something, and they really just played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with all the updates, with all the features, and then they got the updates and all the stuff in the Switch 1 era. They matured with it, where they added 2 items instead of 1 item. But for those who don't remember, Mario Kart World or Mario Kart 8 used to have it to where there was only 1 item. You couldn't even have 2 items. You could only have 1 item. Like, legit. That's how I know some of these people were lying. I asked him, yo, like, when you used 2 items in Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, how was it? He was trying to explain to me, oh yeah, I did this. I'm like, bro, you lied. There was no 2 items in Mario Kart 8 at launch. There was no 2 items, you liar. So a lot of these people didn't even play. They just heard about it, or they just saw other people. They didn't even really play, or they played it on like a demo station on like at GameStop or something. But they didn't actually like play it because they didn't have a Wii U. A lot of people online did not have a Wii U. They did not play that game in 2014, because if you play that game in 2014, you would have known what was up, man. You would have known. Justin with the 3.
Is it selfish to hope the marathon stream is next Saturday because of how busy I'll be this Saturday?
No,
While JKI can catch the replay.
No, next Saturday, I need you there for the marathon stream, Justin. So we're definitely going to look at it for people that have been supporting and helped us get to that marathon stream. So no, we'll probably do it next week. If you can't make it, we'll probably do it next week. This is short notice. I didn't give you guys, I mean, if it's Saturday, that doesn't give you guys enough time. So maybe if we lock it in for the 13th, I can also sure up a couple different things on my end too when it comes to content and all that. So maybe it'll probably be better if we just wait till the 13th. So yeah, next Saturday. And I think they'll probably want me on the Spawncast this week for Metroid Prime anyway. So I think it might be good that I'm on, because like if I do the marathon stream, I can't be on the Spawncast, because the marathon stream is going to be from 9 a.m. my time or 12 p.m. your time to 6 p.m. your time or 3 p.m. my time. So it's going to be 3 hours guaranteed, and then depending on the combos and all that, it can be another, we can add up to 3 more hours and 3 different games. So for a total of 6 different games, 1 hour a pop, right? So yeah. So I wouldn't be, I mean, if I'm going to do the marathon stream, I'm not going on the Spawncast. I'm not going to be streaming for 6 hours and then do a Spawncast pre-show for another hour, 2 hours, then do the Spawncast for another 2 hours. I ain't doing all that. So maybe it's better that we do next week, and then I can, you know, just take that Spawncast off, you know? We'll see how I feel, though. Maybe if I feel good, I'll still do it. But chances are, I want to plan it for me not being there, you know? So yeah. All right, take it easy, Dan Dips. Thanks for coming out to the stream, man. I appreciate that. Cap, I played Mario Kart 8 Alpha. So yeah. Used to just be the Nate E, but now we just find something that worked. Hey, shout outs, Nate. Appreciate you, fam. Eurogamer drunk. I don't think that they're drunk. Once again, people are allowed to have their opinion. People are allowed to, you know, but like I said, I did read the review. It was just a little weird, man. It's a little weird. I know Nintendo Prime talked about it on Twitter. You know, he said he didn't like the fact that, you know, that they compared it to like 15 other games or whatever, like a million other games. And like, I get that too. You know, like I get what people are saying there in that respect as well. You know, shout outs to Justin though. Thank you for the another 3. Let me go ahead and put that, up on the board here. Shout outs to Justin. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the 3 once again. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's a little weird. It's a little weird, but it's interesting for sure. Interesting for sure. We'll see what happens though going forward. I'm still watching those reviews, you know, like a hawk. So we'll see if it goes up or down. Right now, it's kind of stuck at 81. I'm hoping, like, listen, the worst case scenario happened in the morning, bro. The worst case scenario happened in the morning. And I know, like, even like, you know, Spawnwave put up the 79 Metacritic score. I was like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way that it's going to be this. We got to wait a little bit. It'll probably go up a couple points or a few points. And it did. It went from 79 to 80, then from 80 to 81. Now, it could go back down. But chances of it going back into the 70s are probably slim with 73 reviews. But that was the worst case. That was like that just seems ridiculous. And like Metroid other M score. There's no way. There's no way. You know, and once again, the reviews are different in today's day. You can't always just equate a review from back then to what it is now, you know. You can't do that. But still, like, Other M has a 79. There ain't no way that this game is on that level. It's way better than it's gotta be. Now, once again, that just might be my own confirmation because I've played a little. I mean, I've played the game. And Metroid Other M from the jump, that game has issues. Like, it has not, oh my, I don't like the NPC. Aside from that, or I don't like how Samus has emotions. Like, it's not that. It has, like, control. Some frame rate, not really, but control issues. Like, the whole going like this and the D-pad, like, it has legitimate control problems. Especially if you have big hands. And if you have baby hands, like Party Man, you know, did back when he was a kid and playing it. Because Party Man, I think, how old was Party Man? Party Man was, like, 7 when the game came out. Then, yeah, if you're, like, a baby when you first played the game, then absolutely. You can use that Wii D-pad and have no problems. But for people with any adult-sized hands, which not everybody has big adult-sized hands, I get it, it's fine. Not everybody has it. Some people have little baby hands, and that's okay. Some people have medium-sized hands. That's also okay, too. But for a lot of people, that D-pad was way too small to be playing a 3D or a moving around action game, especially if it's like Ninja Gaiden. Like, nobody plays Ninja Gaiden with a small little tiny D-pad. Team Ninja made this game. Like, you can't play Ninja Gaiden with a small little tiny D-pad. You know, even the NES D-pad was bigger than the Wii Remote D-pad back in the day when you're playing Ninja Gaiden on the NES in 2D. You know? So, like, you need a normal size D-pad, or at least you need an analog stick. Like Ninja Gaiden, like new Ninja Gaiden, that needs an it needs an analog stick. It needs like that. Like, nobody plays it with the D-pad. Even them, like, nobody plays Ninja Gaiden with the D-pad. Like Ninja Gaiden like Black, or Ninja Gaiden 2, or Ninja Gaiden 3, or Ninja Gaiden 4, or Ninja Gaiden anything modern. Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. Nobody's like, oh yeah, let me bust out my D-pad for Ninja Gaiden. Like, the same thing like Metroid. Like, if you're making a 2D game, okay, maybe. But even then, like, so I didn't understand what Sakamoto was trying to do with the control scheme in that game. You know? So to me, that's the biggest issue is that with the game, is the controls are all just fudged up. Not great, you know? So yeah. Demon Souls on PS3 is an 83 meta. Review scores are useless to people who actually play games. Retro fusion gaming, like, I think that it's fair to at least give people an opportunity to give their side, like, to say their opinion on scores, like, you know. So I get what you're saying, but, like, we got to take the good and the bad, right? Like, if a game reviews really high, I'm not gonna, like, I'm like, oh yeah, look at the review scores, it's high. But if a game doesn't review as high as maybe you think it should review, that doesn't mean we should say, just, like, ignore everything. Now, here's where I'm with you, though. I'm with you on, should that affect what you personally play? Bro, you're gonna miss out on games that you love if you let 8 out of 10, or if you let 7 out of 10, or whatever, dictate games that you're excited for. You are gonna probably miss out on games that you'll love. I did this before. I did it before back in the day. I talked about Lost Odyssey. How, you know, the reviews of a 78 Metacritic essentially got me to not play the game. And when I played the game, it came out in 2008, I think. When I played the game in 2010, I said, I will never, ever, 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 ever let reviews dictate what I play. If I can see and look at the game and it looks lit and it looks good, because I saw Lost Odyssey, it looked great, it looked dope from the gameplay, from a JRPG standpoint. I told myself I'm never gonna let those people dictate anything. I played Lost Odyssey, and legitimately it's one of the most incredible RPGs that I've ever played. Yes, it's not perfect, but it's perfect enough for me. The short stories in the game, incredible. The combat, really good. The graphics, obviously great. The story, fantastic. If you think about it from a philosophical standpoint with those short stories, and the problem, we want to live for a long time. It makes you think about yourself. Oh, you want to live forever. Do you really? You know what I'm saying? Because they put you in scenarios and they put you in things that would be just absolutely terrible in terms of it. And once again, this concept has been explored in various media. We've all obviously seen, like, the immortal concept and people that are immortal and, like, oh yeah, that's great, you can live forever. Or how good is it? Constantly seeing people that you love die over and 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 over, like, for like an eternity, right? Like, these dudes been alive for like 1,000 years. Like, it makes you think, and it makes you, like I said, it kind of goes outside of the box when it comes to the short stories in the game and what he went through. To me, there's been no other game from a JRPG standpoint that made me think like that over the course of a 1,000-year timeline and how they did it. Now, you might not encounter all of that because you actually have to see those moments, and like you have to like kind of like seek them out and like make sure that you explore every single little house and nook and cranny. Like, they don't just activate. It's not part of the story. It's like a side thing within the game. Some of them are really easy to run into, but some of them, if you don't explore just a little bit, you won't. But I mean, it's not like you're gonna miss them. If you just simply look around, you'll run into them. But I think some reviewers probably missed that, or just don't care, or just hated JRPGs at that time, or whatever the case is, right? So I always told myself from that point forward, I'm never gonna allow, you know, I don't care what the score is. Like, if the game looks good, if the game looks lit, if it does what I like, I'm gonna try it out. Now, if it's not as good as what I hoped for or what I wanted, then okay, cool. Outside of the box, you know, outside of that. But I'm never gonna let it dictate what I play, because I waited 2 years to play Lost Odyssey, and there's no reason why I should have waited 2 years to play Lost Odyssey. Like, I should have just played it, but the reviews got me to say, nope, not right now. And that was a bad idea. So yeah, can't agree with reviews only when it's convenient. I would say it's best to ignore scores or read the review and try to form an opinion based on them. To be honest, once again, yeah, you can do that. I still, like I said, I've been so jaded. I will acknowledge the reviews, but I've been so, I don't even listen to what they say like 100%. Like, I look at it, and like, if it's not just like straight up like factual, like, this game is broke because look at this game being broke. Like, this game runs at 120 FPS. Look at this game running at 120 FPS. This game has frame rate issues. Look at this game having frame rate issues. This game has, you know, low resolution. Look at this game having low resolution. Like, if it's not something that's like legitimately like factual, I don't really take any of their opinions seriously or use it to form my opinion too much. That's why when I brought up what Mr. John Lemon said, I looked at it from there is no like in between here. This is what he says. He says that they don't interfere most of the time. They're at a base. There are some stuff to where, hey, look, they might like them. That's whatever. His opinion on whether you like them or not, I'll find out when I play it. But we have people talk about there's like tons of hand-holding. They're all inside the story, and they're just constantly interrupting. He says that there's not. So it's like one or the other. There's not like any in between. You know? So that's why I'm a bit confused with some of the stuff here. Once I play it myself, I'll check it out. But like, I don't even really look at some of the stuff that they say like objective wise and form an opinion, like form like a real opinion on that. I look at the stuff that's like factual, or like it's either this or it's that, and I go from there. Because once again, you can't really judge what these people, like, you can't really trust everything that these people are saying, regardless. You really can't. A lot of these people, they listen. I'm not gonna accuse them of doing drugs when they take the reviews, but you don't know what people are doing, fam. And let me tell you this, and I'm not saying that they're all under the influence. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know how they're feeling. You don't know what their perception is. You don't know how their eyesight is. You don't know how lots of stuff are. So I'm not going to take objective or little things or in terms of subjective calls and say, oh yeah, they're 100% right. Like, I'm not going to do that, because I've done that before and it ends up getting me burned before in reviews. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at like the factual stuff and kind of say, okay, that's factual. That's how it is. Okay. And then you can form an opinion, or you can form your view on that stuff. But when it comes to subjective, or when it comes to like some of the objective stuff, like gameplay, like, okay, yeah, they say it's the best in the series. Okay, well, I played the game. You know, I played it at Best Buy, and it's definitely the smoothest, best in the series that I put from a controls visual standpoint. It's obviously the best in the series. That's very clear from even the demo that you play at Best Buy. So I'm going based off of that. I'm like, okay, I played it. They're saying it. Okay, seems like it's pretty much a confirmation. The resolution and the frame rate also confirms that. We've got confirmed the resolution and frame rate. That's also a confirmation. We've also got confirmed gyro controls, mouse controls, dual analog controls. That's also confirmed. Okay, those are facts. Okay, those are facts. So I'm even wary about that, you know? So yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of the best games that are games didn't necessarily score in the high 80s. Yep, exactly. Like, I really like Pokemon Legends ZA. I really like Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. You know, I really like, you know, Lost Odyssey. You know, I like Star Ocean 4. That game didn't review that great either. I really like that game. So yeah. I like Tales of Vesperia. That's like a low 80s
The
game.
problem with reads some reviews is some go from talking about the game to talking about when they got a cheeseburger and how it relates to game quality somehow. Lol.
I read like the Eurogamer review. Yeah, you know, well, you know, I know there's people that were talking about the other characters, and yeah, they're annoying and they talk a lot. Yeah, but I don't know, man. There was another game that came out, and then they were talking too. But then after that, I was like, thinking, do these people really need to be here? And then I was over here, I was thinking, oh yeah, I was like the wave in my house in my computer, and all of a sudden there's others, and it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, just discuss the game. Like, and then it's like some reviews like, oh, they're comparing it like it's like this is 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 like this game. And I don't know what mushrooms they're eating. I don't think they're like the Mario and Luigi. Listen. Give me 1 second here, guys. Give me 1 second. Sometimes, when it comes to some of these people, you have no idea what's going on. Sometimes you look at what they're doing, and sometimes they might be chomping. You know what I'm saying? They might be chomping on one of these. They might be, it's actually green, not blue. But like, it's green, but the green screen jacks the, they might be chomping on one of these. You just don't know. Like one of the, or it could be of the variety of these. You know what I'm saying? I know, it could be. Now, my brother got me these. He got these from Japan, the Nintendo store in Japan. Straight from Japan, so shout outs to my brother. We still don't know what they are. He said something like a salt shaker, but there's some holes at the top. But this one only has one hole at the top, and this one has 3 holes at the top. And they both came in a set. So, if somebody can read Japanese, and you can tell me what this says, that would be great. I know it's not focused, but maybe I'll take a picture. It says 1-up. So, I don't know what this is. But he got it to me. He was in Japan earlier this year. My brother went to Japan and went to the Nintendo store there. I think it's in Tokyo or in, I forgot where the big Nintendo store is, like the big main one. Yeah. So there you go. So like I said, sometimes you don't know what some of the people are, like what they're doing, what they're thinking when they're writing or reading the reviews and all that. And listen, it's more of a joke, guys. I'm not serious. Like they're under the, I'm not. But I'm just saying, like, there's been times when I read reviews and I'm like, and I play the game myself and I'm like, dude, that has like, what are they talking about? Like that's nothing to do with the game, or that's not in the game, or that's not an issue in the game. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to make a joke about it. So yeah. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, Zombie Tech Pad? With no standard for reviews, the reviews scores are pointless. All I'm saying is that some reviews do not take into account the fun factor. Instead of score games on cinematics and story without regard for fun factor. You know what? Retro Fusion, that could be a thing for some games. Splatoon games and DKC are constantly underscored, and I strongly suspect Metroid Prime 4 is grossly underscored, but others are overscored. So yeah, it's just all over. Yeah, you know what? I would say, Jackson, you're definitely right for like Splatoon and like DKC in general. I have no idea what they can do to make that game better, because people who play the game, like DKC Tropical Freeze, everyone says Tropical Freeze, not everyone, but a lot of people say Tropical Freeze is like one of the best 2D platformers ever. If you look at top 2D platformers of all time, Tropical Freeze is up there in the top 20, top 25 a lot. You see it in so many people's lists. It's a great game, controls great, plays great, has multiple characters, tons of replay value, and that's like a low 80s score. That's like a 80, you know, like a low. So I don't even know what they could do to make Tropical Freeze. I don't get, like, what's the problem, you know? So yeah, that's true. Donkey Kong, Country, yeah, Tropical Freeze is an 83, and it's better than Donkey Kong Country Returns. You know, Donkey Kong Country Returns came out in 2010, Tropical Freeze came out in 2014, and it's 4 points lower, and Tropical Freeze is a much better game than Returns. And I would say that there's probably in terms of review scores, there's definitely some crossover between the Wii and the Wii U in terms of people that were reviewing it and thought process at the time of those games. They're only 4 years apart, you know, not even 4 years actually, about 3 years and some odd months apart, because the game came out November 21st, 2010 on the Wii, and then it came out February 21st, 2014 on the Wii U. So it's about 3 years and 3 months, so not even 4 years. So there's definitely some crossover in terms of how reviewers were reviewing games. Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii has forced motion control, has forced, you know, for less control options, no Pro Controller support. You know, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze has all of that. You can use Wii remotes, you can use Pro Controllers, you can use the gamepad. The gamepad doesn't do anything, but you can use it. Way more control options, more characters to use, more difficulty, more extra content, better graphics. Music is just as good, if not better. So, I don't know, you know? And then like Donkey Kong 64, that's like a 90 rated game, and that game's like terrible, you know? So no, listen, I don't like Donkey Kong 64. I know a lot of you guys like Donkey Kong 64 and all that, but I don't like Donkey Kong 64. I don't think it's that great. But it only has 14 reviews, so user scores put it at 8.4. So yeah, I mean, Tropical Freeze. Let me look at that again. Let me see what people say about that. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. The user score is like more of a 9. It's 8.9. 8.9 out of 10. So it's you know 6 points, almost 7, pretty much 7 points higher. It's 8.9 out of 10. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's weird. Let me look in general what happened with the dunk, because I mean, it got a bunch of great scores, but let's see where people felt that it needed to be lower. Yeah, a lot of 8 out of 10s. So yeah, Eurogamer with the 7 out of 10. Doesn't like they said that it plays good, but it's uninspired. People who play Donkey Kong Country Returns will find Tropical Freeze a little uninspiring. If you play it, which I didn't find that uninspiring. I played Returns and I found Tropical Freeze to be significantly better. So I mean, like, I don't even. Yeah, Eurogamer says this. The likelihood then is that people who play Donkey Kong Country Returns will find Tropical Freeze a little uninspiring. That's not how I felt at all. How I felt was like, thank God it plays good. Like, I don't have to use a Wii remote. That's the first thing that I said was like, I can use a Pro Controller with an actual D-pad and an analog stick. That's what I said first. That was the first thing. It was not uninspiring at all. The second thing that I said is, oh wow, they added Dixie Kong. She's awesome. That's the second thing that I thought. And like, oh wow, this game looks way better. They did say it's a superior game. It's a superior game. It's nicer. It's easier to control on the gamepad than it was with the Wii remote. There's slightly more to do. But like a lot of Nintendo's recent sequels, that doesn't feel like quite enough. 7 out of 10. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, GameSpot with the 6 out of 10. If the regular levels were as inventive as the boss battles, then Tropical Freeze would be a surefire hit, or at least a game that demands more of your attention. No matter how much I was looking forward to seeing DK in HD, it's difficult to maintain that enthusiasm when the end product plays it so safe. Even the visuals fail to make an impact. They're nice enough, but like level design, the environments are mostly bland. Yeah, I don't know what game they're playing. Like, what Tropical Freeze environments are great. The levels are inventive. They're difficult. They're fun to play. I don't get it. Once again, I don't get it. Also, Shaq News with the 6 out of 10. It says, while undoubtedly better in most respects than Donkey Kong Country Returns, that game spent its goodwill as a nostalgic throwback. Tropical Freeze is left suffering many of the same weaknesses, but without a sheen of a comeback story to set it apart. So essentially, it's a better game, but then, you know what? Back then, oh, it was coming back, so I'm more excited, but this time, nope. So that's what I'm saying. Let's like, what Jackson is saying could be true. Could be true. to the game. Once again, you have to play it though yourself. So yeah, I think it's based off of emotions, which it's okay to rate games based off of emotions. It's okay. I mean, well, no, it is and it isn't okay. This is why I don't like giving a lot of scores to, like, it's like emotions can factor in, like people that love Clair Obscur, the emotions hit. That, oh man, they hit when they hit, right? So it's okay because they're like, for me, Xenoblade, right? But I think that the problem is like when you start putting together, oh well, that game was a retro throwback, so it was it was a ceremonious return. But this game doesn't have that. Like when you start doing stuff like that, I think that's when it's like, okay, wait, hold up here. You know, that's not emotions based on the actual game or gameplay or it being better or not. That's just you saying, well, back then I didn't get a 2D Donkey Kong and it came back, so I'm happy. But now 3 years later, they make a better, superior game because people like that game and it's not different enough. Yeah, like I'm not a fan of that. That's what I'm not a fan of. Like, if a game is better, a game is better. I'm not a fan of breaking fourth wall into, well, the time period that it came out and that it was different because we never had one before. And now this, it'd be like rating Dread higher because we hadn't had a console 2D Metroid game in, like, forever. Since, like, what? Super Metroid? Or when was the last time there was a console 2D Metroid game? Right? We haven't had one in, like, forever. I didn't rate Dread higher because we haven't had a console 2D Metroid game in a million years. I don't do that. And if Metroid Dread 2 or the next Metroid 2D game comes out and it's very much like Dread but just way better, I'm going to rate it appropriately, like the game but maybe a little bit better. Or I'm gonna mention, like, hey, it's gonna be about, like, I'm not gonna go underneath and say, oh well, it's better, but you know, that one relied on nostalgia. This one doesn't have that. You know, like that's just weird. That's just weird, weird way of looking at things. And I know some people actually look at things that way though. So it's not like it's like wrong. People are allowed to look at it that way, but that's not how I'm going to look at games. Like I don't look at games like that. Like I'm not going to rate something better just because the scenario that it came under. Like, it's been 18 years since Metroid Prime 3. Even if this game was rated really high, I'm not going to rate this game higher because we haven't got a Metroid Prime, like, numbered Metroid Prime game in 18 years. It's going to be rated on what it's going to be rated, and that's that, you know? So, yeah. That's because it's an emotional story. That's different. Yeah, exactly. That's because it's an emotional story. But I'm not going to rate it emotions based off of outside factors like we hadn't got a 2D Donkey Kong game in decades, but now we got a 2D Donkey Kong, so all of a sudden, oh my god, it's back. And then the next one, oh, well, that one had one. We hadn't got it in a while. Oh, we got this one in 2010, so not as great. So, it's a thing. Reviewers consistently sabotage any game from Retro Studios starting from about 15 years ago. I can speculate as to why. Sabotage! You know, they're out there with the Jackson. So yeah, it's crazy how the hype for Metroid Prime fell once the reviews came out. That's not real Dreamcast guy. That's not the real Dreamcast guy. And the hype didn't really fall because of the reviews. People are just discussing it. People are still hyped. People are still excited. I've had literally, I think hundreds of people come in here and say that they're still excited and hyped for the game. But hold up, this is Jackson. Is this what they're doing, Jackson? Is this what they're doing to Retro Studios? This is what they're doing. Is this what they're doing, Jackson? Hold up, give me a second. This is what they're doing. I gotta scrub this later, but you had to make me bring it up, Jackson. This is what they're doing over here. Here's the reviewers right here. Here's the reviewers. Look at the reviewers trying to sabotage Retro Studios. Ain't so crystal clear. They wonder why. Thorn in my side. They're sabotaging. Look at them trying to make it. All the reviewers. Eurogamer, Andy Robinson. Look at these guys. Hitman. Sabotaging. Look at the Look at the reviewers. This is the bad review scores. Trying to sabotage the game. Get him. No, I'm just messing with you, Jackson. Just sit. The lore drop right here, Beastie Boys. The lore drop. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Unless you're a Nintendo fanboy, Bubble, the hype definitely took a hit from the general audience. People that play Metroid Prime, if you play Metroid Prime, you like Metroid Prime. It's not a super popular game. The general audience didn't give a damn about Metroid Prime on the GameCube when it got really good review scores. And I know you're a troll, so it's like whatever, but we'll just explain it this way because people like you aren't smart enough to actually discuss things normally. You have to say people are fanboys, you have to call names and stuff like that. So if you want to do that, we can play that game. It's okay. Logic taught me to deal with people like you very easily because that's what people do that aren't very smart do. They just say they're fanboys. That's the reason why. Listen, Metroid Prime was never popular with the general audience. The general audience was never going to rush out there and buy Metroid Prime 4. They didn't rush out there and buy Metroid Prime on the GameCube that rated a 97, the general audience. There is no general audience for Metroid Prime. Metroid Dread has an 88. It has Game of the Year nominated. The general audience didn't rush out there to buy Metroid Dread with its 88. The general audience didn't rush out there to buy Metroid Prime 2 with its 92. The general audience didn't rush out there to buy Metroid Prime 3 with its 90 Metacritic score. So you come in here and trying to, like I said, because this is you're not very smart, and that's okay. But you come in here and try to say, oh, the general audience. What general audience? This is for Metroid fans. This is for just Metroid fans. The general audience are not the people that are rushing out there and buying Metroid Prime. They're not the ones that are rushing out there and buying Metroid Prime. They're just not. Because the general audience did not buy Metroid Prime on the GameCube. The general audience did not buy Metroid Prime 2. That game sold terrible, or not terrible, but it sold like a little bit over 1 million. The general audience did not buy Metroid Prime 3. The Wii, there was tons of gamers on the Wii. The Wii had a 100 million unit install base. How many people bought Metroid Prime 3? Not very many. It was just basically just Metroid fans like that bought that game. That was it. Metroid Prime 3 barely sold more than Metroid Other M. Like, so yeah. That's really it. It's just Metroid fans. So there is no general audience. Of course, the general audience is going to look at things, but just like Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, they just look at things. They don't go out there and buy the game like that. They never have. The general audience has never purchased Metroid Prime like that. So this is just for the Metroid fans and for Metroid fans to discuss the game. Now, there are some people on the fringes on the outside, but there's not a large buy-in from these people on the outside looking in. Like, let's just be real here. So you can take the fanboy nonsense somewhere else, if you don't, whatever, right? But you're not saying anything that's important. You're not saying anything that hasn't been said on Twitter. You're not saying anything important or relevant here, so it's really easily disproven. Metroid has never been for the general audience. The general audience is now not happy or not. What general audience? Were they buying Metroid Prime on the GameCube? Were they buying Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3? What about the Wii? The Wii had a lot of general audience people, a lot of casual gamers. Where were they all for Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii? How about Metroid Prime Hunters? Where were they for Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS? Where were they for that game? Where were they for Metroid Dread? The Switch is the best-selling system of all time. Where were all the general audience people for Metroid Dread? It was just Metroid fans that like 2D Metroid and Metroid Prime fans that bought that game. 3 million sold. That was not a general audience game like Animal Crossing or like anything else. So come on now, let's be real. Let's be real here. Let's stop with the cap, all right? Prime 4 has two main issues. One is the first-person shooters. Two is the price is very high for the amount of content. Lastly, clearly a Switch 1 game with better visuals. So for a pass for many, you can say that, like I said, you can say the same thing for Metroid Prime 1 or Metroid Prime 2 or Metroid Prime 3. So I don't think that's a very high price is high for the amount of content. It's no different from Metroid Dread. It's a $60 game. All the games are going to be the full price. If it's on Switch 2, it's a $70 game. But if it's on Switch 1, it's a $60 game. So it's no different from Metroid Prime 1, Metroid Prime 2, or Metroid Prime 3, or Metroid Prime anything, Other M, or any of the other Metroid Prime games. So I don't think price is going to do anything. If the game was $50, I don't think all of a sudden it's going to sell way more. Like, it might sell a little bit more, but it's not going to sell way more if it's 50 or if it's 60 or if it's 70. If you're a hardcore Metroid Prime fan or if you're a Prime fan, you're going to buy the game regardless. You're going to get the $60 and you're going to buy it, or you're going to get the $70. You've been waiting 18 years, or you've been waiting a long time. You had plenty of time to save up that extra $10 or so. So if you're a general audience, the general audience doesn't buy Metroid Prime like that. What we're not going to do, like, I get some of the complaints and all that, but what we're not going to do is we're not going to retrofit this to, or this is going to be some type of massive big game. And now that the reviews came out, all of a sudden, oh, I'm not going to buy it now. And the reviews, like, come on, let's be real here, because those people didn't rush out there and buy Metroid Dread like that. People that bought Metroid Dread were people that were hardcore fans of 2D Metroid, hardcore fans of the Metroid series. Those are the people that bought Metroid Dread, and that's about it, because it sold 3 million. Once again, Echoes of Wisdom, a side Zelda game, sold way more. Skyward Sword sold more. A port of an old game sold more. So we've had various other games sell way better than Metroid Dread, and that game was Game of the Year nominated, super highly rated, all this other good stuff, right? And it's not like a ton of people out the woodwork, casual fans, all of a sudden, that, you know, the 150 million people, you know, that buy games on Switch all of a sudden rushed out and bought Metroid Dread. That didn't happen. So, and I told people this before, and I was like, that's not going to happen, guys. People were saying, oh, it's going to sell like 6, 7, 10 million. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So I was never on that train with the casual audience jumping on board with Metroid. Did you see that Mario Kart World got an update? Yes. I did see that already. We already talked about it, Dead Silence. Listen, I don't have a Switch 1, so I bought the Switch 2 only for Metroid 4. And the moment I feel my hype, it's lost. I suggest actually playing the game, Devil, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna enjoy the game and you're gonna like it. I would not go off of, once again, some review scores. Like I said, I would not do it. I don't do that for any other game that comes out, you know. So I would not do that for this game. I personally think you should go into it and say, hey, I'm going to play the game. I'm going to check it out. I'm looking forward to it. And you're probably going to end up liking it. And you're probably going to disagree with a lot of stuff. You might agree with some of the stuff, but you're probably going to disagree with a lot of the stuff. Because like I said, if you read the reviews, a lot of them come from purists that say it's either Metroid Prime 1 or nothing, or I can't have any other NPCs in games because it's Metroid. So keep that in mind too, bro. Like, just keep that in mind. I read the reviews. It sounds like I'm defending it, but honestly, bro, I read the reviews. Like I said, I understand, like, they're allowed to have them, and I'm not saying that people are not allowed to have their own views, but people are allowed to, I'm also allowed to have my own views too, as well, right? Like, so like everyone's allowed to have their own views. And from what I played and from what I've seen and from what I've read, it seems like some purists are just getting crazy about there being other characters in the game. I don't care. That's not why I played Metroid. I didn't play Metroid to be alone 24/7. I don't care if there's Federation Troopers. Like, there's Federation Troopers in other games too. There's other characters in other games too. Metroid Prime 3, that's my favorite Metroid Prime game. That game has other characters too. So I don't care, you know? So if I were you, I would play it and enjoy it. I'm still hyped. I'm still hyped like crazy to play the game. I still think that, yeah, I think maybe for some, that people that obviously put all their stock into Metacritic, I don't know why anybody would do that. Once again, I don't know why you would do that. It just seems like a stupid idea. But once again, we still cover the good and we cover the bad here. We cover good. We cover, obviously, Metroid, like 8 out of 10, 8.1 out of 10. That's not bad. That's obviously a good score, but it's not up to the where Metroid Prime was. But Metroid Prime 1, Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3, those are games 30 years or 20 years ago. Metroid Prime came out in 2003. I mean, we're talking 22 years ago, 20-something years ago, 18 years ago. Like, games aren't even rated the same type of way these days, you know? So it's kind of hard to sit there. Like, I'd be hard-pressed to say anybody that thinks that this game, Metroid Prime 4, that reviewed it, is actually worse than Metroid Prime 3. If you go back and play Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii, don't play it on the Wii, don't play it on emulation, how you like it, and play it at 4K 60 or 4K. Play it on the Wii in 480p, 60 FPS. Play it on the Wii. I'd be hard-pressed for anybody to think that Metroid Prime 4 is not as good as that game. If not, like, Metroid Prime 4 is, like, way better than that game. There's, like, no way, in my opinion, from what I've seen. But once again, I will play it and I will report back to you guys. What's known as people saying Prime 4 and Other M are the worst Prime rated games, but forgot to mention Prime Federation Force sitting at a 56 meta score is funny. Not mentioning that. Well, that's not a console game, but I see what you're saying. Metroid and Kirby, both underrated franchises. They often overlooked Pokemon, Mario, that may explain scoring system. Well, Pokemon doesn't score good either, so yeah. Also, people's comments are 7-9 score posts are people that were really let down by the score. I gotta agree, I wasn't expecting it to be the other way. It's going for 90. Yeah, I was expecting it to be higher. I didn't think it was gonna be a 90 plus. I think that was a bit too high. I was expecting more like an 87 or something like that. But once again, the score is not a 7. I mean, 79. That's low. That's low for this. But it's an 81 now, so it's not. I mean, so it's not a 79. It's an 81. People were expecting higher scores. I agree, but it got an 81. It didn't get a 79 or 80. It got an 81. So it's above this. It's above that. Let's see here. Get facts right. The last game that wasn't a 90 plus. It was a 90. The Prime 4 isn't a 78 to 80. It's 81. So if you're bad, you would agree to exaggerate. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, this guy's a troll. So I mean, I don't think he's here to actually have any actual conversation. I don't think this guy even plays video games much, to be honest. I think he just talks about video games. You know, so it's okay. I doubt he does because, like, once again, he's. Why am I even letting somebody mimic? Like, impersonation is elite. It's against the TOS on I don't even know why we're letting this guy talk. Anyway, he's talked enough. Time out. 30 minutes. Thanks for coming out to the stream. Come back with your actual normal account, not your sock account or not like a troll account. And I'd be more than happy to talk good and bad. But yeah, come back with another account and we'll be good. Let's see. Federation Force isn't a bad game. It was either unfairly treated. Federation Force it got dumped on because people wanted a new Metroid game. They didn't want a side game with multiplayer. So that's why Federation Force got bodied because of that. Yeah. Used to be a subreddit of Metroid people that's spreading misinformation and name calling people making posts. Mods ain't doing nothing about it when someone calls them out. I'm not going on Reddit. That just seems like a bad idea. Like, I already got to deal with Twitter. Then I got to go deal with Reddit too. I'm good, man. I'm good on all that. Let's see. Let's see here. I mean, he kind of talked like the real one. That's true. That's it. Kind of, yeah. Let's see. How do we know that the people giving bad reviews are purists and not just a bunch of pretendos? Just like the fake Zelda fans who hate Breath of the Wild. Well, I mean, the reason why I say that some of it are purists, because if you read their review, the review sounds like a purist. Like, if you read the review, it sounds like it, right? And if you read their preview, it also sounds like they're more purist, and they constantly reference other Metroid Prime games. Now, once again, if you look at what John Lindman said about the game, which I will replay for those who missed it, it's either like one or the other, right? Like, when I look at the reviews, like, I look at hold up. Like, when I look at like, when people say, oh, there's hand holding and there's too many other NPC characters and I don't like them and all this, and there's a big problem, and that's what some reviews say. But then when I look at what John Lindman says, he's like, yeah, they're kind of out of the way. I kind of like some of them, blah, 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 whatever. That tells me that there's definitely, like I said, there might be some exaggeration on people that are more purist, because Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 2 have like almost pure isolation. And they were complaining about that, just having characters in general. So to me, there might be just a little bit of an exaggeration from a purist. Not that they're pretendos. I don't think they're the pretendos. I just think that they're maybe a purist that's like, man, I can't have anybody else in this. And if they do, it better just be like they better not be in the flesh. It better be like over a comm, and it better be like not like an actual real person. It better be somebody like on a ship somewhere, you know? And like, it better never happen at all, right? And I think that's where some of that has come from. I don't know about pretendo. I'm not gonna go that far. I don't think Andy Robinson's a pretendo. You know, I'm not gonna go like that. So yeah. One thing I do wish Metroid Prime 4 had online multiplayer. I think it would have been awesome. Enjoy multiplayer Metroid Hunters game on the DS. How was the single player Metroid Prime? And I know you're behind Blazing Blazes. How was the single player on Metroid Prime Hunters? What did you think about the single player campaign in that game? Let's see. Just watched Donkey's video on game reviews. Maybe I'll check that out. I'm not a big Donkey. I don't watch all his videos. I'm not a huge fan of the videos, but yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Hunter's mode could have been a good addition for MP4. How was Hunter's single player campaign, Bubbles? For those that are saying, oh, they should have just added multiplayer, as if it's easy. As if you can just add multiplayer and it's no problem and it would have been fine. And then the single player would have just been just as good, if not better. So how was the single player in Metroid Prime Hunters? For those who have played the single player. Ah, there you go. I didn't play much single player on Metroid Hunters. Okay, there you go. The truth comes out. Oh my gosh. Metroid Hunters single player wasn't very good. All right, there you go. In my opinion, there you go. So what you're saying is that they should have made a multiplayer like Hunters. That was great. But the single player then suffers or potentially is not as good. Metroid Prime is not a multiplayer type of thing, which we had this discussion already. I get some of you guys are like, they should have had multiplayer. It would have been great. There's no guarantee that they can make a modern multiplayer game that's incredible. Hunters was a long time ago. That was not even a, I mean, it was an okay multiplayer game. It was fine, but it was very constrained. Like, you thought it was okay because it was on the DS. If they put a 4-player multiplayer game on the Switch 2, that's not going to be very impressive. Just sitting around shooting different bounty hunters in a multiplayer arena. Like, if you have multiplayer on the Switch 2, people would be expecting Splatoon levels of multiplayer, you know? I'm not sure if they could make a game like Metroid Prime 4 with all the different stuff that it has in the game on top of having an incredible multiplayer or a great multiplayer. I think both of them would just be okay, or if not worse, right? People already complained about some of the aspects of Metroid Prime 4. Now imagine having to curtail that with, or having to add on to the workload with a multiplayer mode. Multiplayer is not easy to do. It's not easy. It's difficult. It's hard. You've got to test. You've got a lot of stuff. A lot of you guys think that it's just you snap your fingers, then all of a sudden multiplayer appears like a wild Pokemon or something. It's just not the case, guys. It's just not. You've got to really plan out multiplayer. It's got to be a thing. And if you're building a game from scratch, or if you're starting over, or if you're rebooting a game and like you've got to start and like you're bringing in new talent, throwing a big single player adventure with all sorts of cool set pieces and replay and you know, areas to go to and backtracking and powers and and then say, oh, by the way, you also have to do multiplayer. Oh, and by the way, it needs to be done in like 5 years, right? Like, it needs to be done in like 5 or 6. It's like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot on the plate of Retro Studios. That is a ton. Now, maybe in the future, now that they have the groundwork built out for the Switch 2, and they have the groundwork built out for like HD engine and all that good stuff, maybe they can say, okay, we can reuse assets and we can make a multiplayer mode in Metroid Prime 5. I think that's very possible to do that. But I think that for the first game back, for them putting together this team, hiring a bunch of new talent, trying to put together a game, I think that, you know, having a multiplayer with this one would just be, that'd be a bit too much. It'd be a bit too much. Let's see here. Speaking of Nintendo, you see all PS fanboys want to pick on Metroid Prime score, but they forget PS first party games Concord got less review score. Well, I mean, the score is not very far off from Ghost of Yotei. I think Ghost of Yotei is like, what, an 85 or 86? So it's not like it's super far off. So yeah, but I mean, I think that where it comes from is that people like myself too were also saying, hey, look, this is going to review way higher, you know? So I think that's where it comes from. The fact that the other Metroid Prime games have reviewed so high, you know? Yeah, Ghost of Yotei is at 86, so it's 5 points higher. Which, I mean, if Metroid Prime 4 was an 86, that would still even be lower than a lot of the, like, what people maybe expected. I mean, I said 87. Some people were expecting 90 plus. So even if it did it the same as Ghost of Yotei, it'd still be like, okay, wait, hold up. Or even if it was like an 84 or 85, people would be like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. You know, so really, I think that's where it comes down to. But the game is good. Metroid Prime is a good game. Just like Ghost of Yotei is a good game, you know? Hard to believe that it's been 18 years since the last Metroid game. It's not been 18 years since the last Metroid game. It's been 18 years since Metroid Prime 3. But there's been multiple Metroid games in between Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Prime 4. So we've gotten Metroid Federation Force. Metroid Other M came out in 2010. So that came out 3 years after Metroid Prime 3. Metroid Prime Other M, Metroid Prime Federation Force, I think in 2015 or 2016 for Federation Force. Metroid Samus Returns came out in 2017. Metroid Dread came out in 2021, and then we have Metroid Prime 4 in 2025. So there's been multiple Metroid games since, you know, in the last 18 years before Metroid Prime or after Metroid Prime 3. I saw Nintendo predict the 96. Yeah, that was way too high. There's no way in today's day. There's no way that a Metroid game is getting a 96. Like, that's a bygone era with that. There's no way that Metroid is. I mean, after Metroid Dread, got a 88, I'm like, yeah, they just don't think this franchise is like that great, like to where it could be like a 90. It's like Metroid Dread is a 90 plus game, and that's an 88. So so yeah, that's when I realized that there's no way that no matter how good Metroid is, it's probably never gonna get another 90 score unless I don't know what they can do. I honestly don't know what it can do. A new Metroid game, not a remake of the old ones or something. Katana with the dollar dono says, "Yo, Big Dog, can you play Silent Sheep, Catherine?" Yeah, I can. Thank you, Katana Rico. I appreciate that. Thank you for the dollar dono, brother. Hopefully you're doing good. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I don't think Zero Suit matters for Samus or anything. Um, so yeah, I don't think that matters. Dread doesn't have Zero Suit in there, and Dread was the best selling one. Metroid Zero Mission has Zero Suit Samus. That's not one of the better selling Metroid games. I think Fusion sold way better than Zero Mission. So yeah, I don't think so. But I feel you, brother. I think you're more joking around. Of course, multiplayer is easy to do. Literally, all you have to do is add 16 players, some cool maps in your set. Don't forget to invite your friends and play either. Yeah, that's all you have to do. It's super easy. That's it. Um, so yeah, the critic circle is way different than the early 2000s. Prime 2 and 3 would not be hitting 90s if they were released date. I agree. I don't think Prime 2 and 3, although Prime 1 remastered got a 94, so it's like maybe not. Like if they remastered Prime 2, what would that? I think that would be like the telling thing. Like if they remastered Prime 2, what would that get? But they remastered Prime 1, and that's 20. They remastered that what 2 years ago, and that game got a 94. But I mean, did it get a 94 just because the pedigree that the original game got a 97? So this game, of course, is just as good, right? Like that's why it's hard with these, man. It really is difficult with these. It really is difficult. So yeah. Um, I meant 18 years since the last Metroid Prime game. Sorry, I didn't clarify. Yeah, even that's incorrect because we did get Metroid Prime Federation Force. You know, so I think what you mean is the last console numbered Metroid game because we did get Metroid Prime Federation Force in between that, and I don't know when. I think Metroid Prime Pinball also came out. Metroid Prime Pin. That came out in 2000. Yeah, that was 2005. So that was actually a couple years before Metroid Prime 3 came out. That was 2 years before it. So yeah, we got Metroid Prime Federation Force. Metroid Prime Federation. Yeah, that was in 2016. So yeah. So we did get one Prime game in between that, but I think what you mean was like numbered console Metroid Prime games. I think that's what you're talking about, right? We also got Metroid Prime Trilogy, which that's not a new Metroid Prime game, but that is a compilation with some added adds achievements, in-game achievements. It adds a couple different things here and there too. Excuse me, to the mix. So yeah, Metroid Prime Trilogy did come out in 2009, which was 2 years after Metroid Prime 3. So we got Metroid Prime Trilogy, and then we got Metroid Prime Federation Force. So those were the two Prime games that we got after Metroid Prime 3. So you should read reviews and not just look at numbers. You cannot boil all the exhilaration, thrills, emotional ups and downs, and complexity of a video game down to a number. It's difficult, I agree. Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what you meant, yeah. I get Prime 4 and Dread when I get a Switch 2. I gotta get Prime 4 and Dread when I get a Switch 2. Well, if you have a Switch 1, Dread plays just fine on the Switch 1. So yeah, there are really no multiplayer shooters on Nintendo. Big miss by Nintendo. There are no multiplayer shooters like Splatoon, like that one. Is that what you're talking about? So yeah, that's a multiplayer shooter. Is Splatoon? So that's a pretty big multiplayer shooter. There's actually two of them: Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3. There's some other games as well. There's some like free to play. I think there's like what? There's Overwatch. That's obviously a multiplayer shooter. There's what is it? Warface, which I don't know about that game myself, but there's Warface. That's a multiplayer shooter as well. And I'm pretty sure there's other multiplayer shooters that I'm just not thinking about. But yeah, Splatoon's right there, man. So yeah. Let's see it. I missed the beginning of the stream. Are losing hope because of reviews. No, no, no. I'm not losing hope, but we still have to talk about the reviews. And I don't think people think, like, the more that people actually see the reviews and read them and look at the stuff, it's more people are thinking, wait a minute, what? Like, there are definitely more people that are thinking, wait a minute, what's going on here, with the reviews. So I think there's a lot of people that are like, I'm still hyped, I'm still gonna play it, and I think it's really just more of like trolls and like some people. Obviously, there's purists that are not happy with it, right? But they were kind of like not happy with the whole thing beforehand. But I think most people are like, I'm still gonna pick it up. If you were gonna get it before, you're still gonna get it now. You know, I don't think anybody's really changing their mind because it's Metroid. It doesn't have a massive fan base to begin with. I mean, I still think that it can potentially hurt some people maybe getting the game, but those people are like on the fence anyway. I'm not sure if there's anything that, you know, could have got those people, like, if they're waiting on reviews and say, okay, yeah, I'm buying it now because of reviews, you know? So I think once the game comes out and word of mouth kind of spreads, okay, what's the real beat on this game? I think that's when you're going to see whether, okay, yeah, people are not happy or people are happy, you know? Oh yeah, Apex Legends. Also, Apex Legends is also a multiplayer shooter. That's true. Apex Legends, that's another multiplayer shooter. There's not a lot though. I will agree that there's not a lot. So yeah. Let's see. Maybe he means first-person shooters, unless he's tripping. I mean, like I said, there's Apex Legends, there's Overwatch, but once again, you know, those are on the Switch 1 and Switch 2 if you want them. Apex Legends is actually good on Switch 2. Overwatch is still, I think, 30 FPS. So they need to make a Switch 2 version of Overwatch, which I think is probably coming. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo announced at like a direct that Overwatch 2 is coming, like Overwatch Switch 2 edition is coming. That you can just like, and it's like upgrade, like a free upgrade or free patch or something like that from like at a direct from Microsoft or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see here. Pikmin does not have online multiplayer. It's two people. So, and Pikmin's multiplayer is not seen as anything like crazy. Oh my gosh, like I gotta play it. If I'm not correct, Pikmin's multiplayer is just, it's offline and it's only 2 people. So is that what you want? Sure, I guess. I mean, if you think that can be great. Troy Perry says, OJ, what's good? You think there'll be a Prime 5? Yes, I think there will be a Prime 5. So yeah. I'm surprised Marvel Rivals hasn't crossed over to Switch 2 yet. I could care less. Well, they already got the development kit. They're just working on it. They didn't get a development kit well beforehand, so it's going to take them a little bit of time to get that ported over. So they got it. The lead guy is like, oh yeah, we got a development kit. So, you know, so it'll probably come next year at some point. So yeah, it's coming. Reviews aren't pointless, but relying on a simplistic number to determine a game's worth is foolish, especially when aggregates include all opinions, including from untrustworthy sources. I agree. Is that, like I said, I don't want to make it seem as if I'm putting everything into reviews. I don't want to make it seem as if I'm downplaying them completely. You know, like, I'm not trying to say that like that's the case. What I'm trying to say is that, like, I don't ever put all my stock into reviews. Like, that's just not something, you know, that I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do that, you know? I am not gonna do that because that would be a bad idea to do that. I don't think that'd be a good idea overall to do that, just because I've done that before and that ended up being a bad idea when I did that before with Lost Odyssey. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that personally. So yeah, me personally, I'm not gonna do that, but I know other people might, you know, but just not me, you know, not me. So yeah. And people are actually agreeing with my post. Like I said, I think more people are looking at my post on Twitter that I made with John Linden. If you haven't seen it, I'll play it again for you guys. What he had to say about Metroid Prime Beyond, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So we'll play this again if you missed it.
But if you were paying attention,
Okay,
so what about the action then? Well, at its core, the controls, movement, combat, and platforming feel spot on, like a direct continuation of the series' lineage. But if you were paying attention to previews, you would be familiar with concerns about the new helper character, Miles McKenzie. But his role is a lot less intrusive than expected. Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation. Miles sets up a base in Fury Green and then largely stays there, rarely interrupting comms, which is a good thing. What previews did not reveal, however, is that you encounter other survivors as well, who then join Miles at camp while you continue on your adventure. These characters appear briefly in cutscenes with some occasional dialogue, but never to an annoying degree, and in fact, you kind of come to like them over time. Compare this to Metroid Prime 3's lengthy introduction with the constant chatter. This really is a non-issue. It doesn't fully recapture the complete solitude of Prime 1 or 2, but it smartly rolls back many of the third game's choices and is stronger for it.
Okay, so that's why, like I said, I'm a little wary on some of the reviews that we're sitting there and saying, like, oh my god, the people, they're just so terrible, they're the worst thing that... I'm a little wary. That's all, my boys. That's it. I'm a little wary. Once again, I got to play it myself. That's why I don't put 100% stock into everything that people say online, because you read some reviews, oh man, the characters, they're in there, they're bad, they're terrible, it's isolation, like, and then like you say, you hear this and you're like, okay, well, hold up, he's saying this. So that's why I don't put everything into what one person says or what two people say. Like, I like say, okay, these people are saying this, these people over here are saying this. I'm gonna play it myself, and then I'll form my own opinion and my own thoughts and my own whatever. You know, that's what I always said. I always just bring up reviews because it's something to bring up, and it's like something that's like, okay, look, it's okay to use them.
So what about the action then?
You know,
well,
it's okay to use them as a reference point to prove or disprove something if it's like factual, like, hey, this game does this or this game does this. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I know it's kind of weird though, bro. Like, I know it's kind of weird, but yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So yeah. Find out this week. Well, it's coming out on Thursday. Some people will have it on tomorrow if you're sailing the New Zealand seas. So we'll find out. We'll find out exactly how it is. We'll find out exactly how it is then. You know, regardless, I think people are going to be, you know, some people might be happy, some people might be upset, some people might feel this way or feel that way, you know, about it. So we'll find out. Like I said, we will find out about everything about this when it comes to like my own personal thoughts and all that. So yeah. But yeah, you can use it as like a reference. Oh man, it's lower than some of the other games. What happened? Like that was the title of that was the thumbnail. It was like, what happened, right? And then like what I put was like, okay, the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond reviews are very interesting. That's what I put for all of them. But these ones are very interesting. So then I go over like, okay, here's what I think with some of it. Here's that. Not the display or down, like, which although it kind of seems like I am this whole time, but I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. Like I'm telling you guys, like, yo, people are allowed to have their opinions, and like people are allowed to think one way. If you think this way, that's fine. I'm just not putting all the stock into what people say online because like I've seen it before. I just don't do that with reviews. Once again, Lost Odyssey is a game that a lot of people were saying that is not very good. That were people that are saying that it was very mediocre. It's just average. That it's not that great. That Final Fantasy is better. Final Fantasy 13 is not better than Lost Odyssey. It's just not better than Lost Odyssey. But they came out. They came out around the same time period. Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy 13 has an 83 average. It came out 2 years after Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey, yeah, it has an 83 average. Lost Odyssey came out in 2008. So yeah, it came out 2 years after Lost Odyssey. It has 5 points higher than Lost Odyssey. There's no way in hell that Final Fantasy 13 is a better game than Lost Odyssey. It's just, Lost Odyssey is like revered for many core JRPG players as an incredible JRPG that's really good and memorable. Final Fantasy 13 is not revered as that at all. There are people that like it. Maybe there are people that say it's good. Maybe some people, you know, revisionist type of situation. But there's no way. There's no way. It's just, in my opinion at least, I've played both games to completion. I've pretty much 100%ed Lost Odyssey. Almost 100% Lost Odyssey. I've pretty much, I wouldn't say 100% Final Fantasy 13, but like, I did as much as you could do in the game on the first run. I mean, the game is pretty linear. You just go through straight, and then at one point, it opens up at Grand Pulse. Grand Pulse runs like complete trash, but it's there. Like, I mean, not like complete trash, but it doesn't run great. But anyway, and then it opens up at Grand Pulse. So yeah, for me at least, There's no way, right? So you can't just take what everyone, like what some people say on Twitter or what some people say on reviews and say and adapt it and think that, oh yeah, that game's better than that game because of this score. Like it's just not a thing, and I don't want people to think that's what I'm doing, because some people accuse me of that. They accuse me of saying, oh well, you just think review scores are the best. And when I say no, I just cover it because it's actual, like, people want to know. And then when I say, oh well, it's not the be all end all, I'm like, I don't do that. Oh no, fanboy. It's like, no, dude, like, are we not allowed to have opinions on certain things one way or another? Like people should be allowed to have opinions, you know? And people should be allowed to disagree with my opinion or agree with my opinion or whatever, right? Like, so that's what it is, you know? Can't say we got Assassin's Creed Red Dead update, 24-hour period, boy, switch to less than 100 gigabytes left. What to do, timeline we got going. You should maybe buy a new, buy a bigger memory card or delete some other games that you're not playing. Let's see, the last story scored 80. Did it get an 8 out of 10? I don't remember what the scores were for the last story. Did it get an 8 out of 10? Yeah, the last story is incredible. That needs a remake, remaster. Yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 for that game. That needs a remake, remaster, re-release. It really does. It really does. That game's awesome. I remember when that game came out. And it was really good. It was really, really, really good game. Really fun. That game has online. That game had online multiplayer. It's like cooperative. It was not competitive. I think it was cooperative multiplayer. I think. No, it doesn't. No, you can't still play it. I was thinking, can you still play it today? I don't think you can. But yeah, Nintendo here in America did not want to publish that. They did not want to publish it at all. You know, at all. So yeah. Let's see. I wish more people talk about the Dragon RPG Xbox instead of saying that there's no good anime RPG games. I don't think people say that. I think people who don't like JRPGs say stuff like that. But people who like JRPGs know that there's a ton of good anime JRPGs. Matt with the 3.
I am back. Too bad I had work tonight. As a hardcore Metroid fan, I could talk about all the Metroid nonsense for an hour or more.
Okay. OJ, you buying any Ubisoft shares or call options? I don't think so. What's going on with Ubisoft shares? Are they on the... They're dipping, right? Shout outs, though. Digital Foundry did a good review. I did watch all Digital Foundry's review. It did a pretty good job with the review of the game. Like, I don't think it was a bad review. It's been a while. I mean, I don't want to play the whole thing, but I guess if you guys want to check it out, we can. You guys down to... Well, how much time do we got left first? Oh, wait, hold up. We don't even have that much time left. Actually, we have about 30, 40... We have about... You guys want to finish out the... Man, no, that's not fair. We can't just do it on the reviews where they say good things. But, I mean, it is a technical review, though, so it's like performance and all that. So, I mean, we can go over that. But what I don't want to do is, like, highlight, oh, here's the good review, you know, and only highlight that, because I kind of already did that on Twitter. Even though I did talk about, like, I did say it was disappointing, and I did put the Metacritic average and say this was a disappointing for Metroid Prime. So it's not like I haven't said the other side. I just, like I said, I'm just skeptical after reading a lot of the reviews, looking at the bad reviews or the not so good. I'm just skeptical about some of the stuff, man, because once again, it just something sounds off to me, bro. Like it sounds off. It sounds like another not Lost Odyssey, but it sounds like another, you know, I don't know. It just sounds weird to me. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe we can, like I said, I'm not taking what Digital Foundry says at face value, like, for everything, but they do go over the technical performance, which is more factual than not, so I am willing to do that. But, you know, we don't really go over, like, reviews of what people have to say like that, but I mean, like, but yeah. No, I just, like I said, I just don't want to make it seem as if we're just doing, oh, positive, because, like, we don't usually do that. But once again, we do go over Digital Foundry's technical analysis on games, so that's something that we do go over. But I will just say as a precursor, just because they like it a lot doesn't mean that it's like, oh my gosh, their opinion is over or above everybody else that feels differently about the game. So I want to make sure that I put that in. I want to make sure that I put that disclaimer before we jump into that. But I'm only doing it because, once again, they have technical stuff in there that talks about, like, the performance of the game, which you know, Eurogamers and a lot of other people's like, they didn't like, oh, well, it runs good. You know, like, they just kind of shrugged it off. Oh, well, it runs good. You know, like, but if the game runs bad, oh boy, they will spend time on that. Oh boy, Pokemon, woo, they'll spend 15 paragraphs on it if it runs, if it runs bad, ooh, they'll spend 10 years about how terrible it runs. If it runs good, oh, it runs good, all right, move on. You know, so all right. Okay, give me a second. It was expectations reading most of the reviews. No one said it was a bad game, but disappointed after such a long wait. Yeah, which I think it was going to be almost impossible to live up to Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. Well, I think the game's better than Metroid Prime 2 and 3. I don't think, like I said, I'll wait till I play it, but I don't think this game is worse than Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3. I don't think it's worse than Prime Hunters. I think it's better than all the other Prime games. We'll see about Metroid Prime 1. But yeah, based off of what I've seen and what I've played, it seems better. But once again, I gotta play the whole thing. I gotta get more into it. You know, I gotta actually play it. It might be my favorite Metroid Prime game, but once again, I am not a Metroid Prime aficionado. So you also have to keep that in mind too. All right, man. 142. Man, they're rolling on this review. All right, you guys enjoy. More Metroid's a good thing.
There's a moment early in Metroid Prime 4 that perfectly encapsulates what makes this series so special. You squeeze through a narrow passage tangled with overgrown vegetation. The door slides open, the score swells, and suddenly you're standing before a breathtaking vista. It's here that the spark ignites, that unmistakable sense of wonder and curiosity, the urge to push forward and uncover the mysteries ahead. This is Metroid Prime. And crucially, the magic remains intact. Despite concerns raised in some previews, I'm delighted to say that Retro Studios has delivered. After years of anticipation, Metroid Prime 4 is finally here, a first-person action adventure that arrives both on the original Switch and Switch 2 with striking visuals, fluid performance, and thoughtful design. It also marks Retro Studios' first original release in over a decade, making this moment all the more significant. It's worth remembering just how long the road has been. The game was first announced back in 2017, mere months after the launch of the original Switch. Development began under Bandai Namco, but the project was ultimately rebooted with Retro Studios taking full control. The result is the Metroid Prime 4 we have today, a game that feels both familiar and fresh in all the best ways. So let's dig in. Today we'll explore the game's visuals, the performance profile, its audio, and what you can expect from the game itself, not to mention discussion about the top-tier HDR presentation. While Metroid Prime 4 is a cross-generation release, shipping on both Switch and Switch 2, we'll be focusing on the Switch 2 edition for this video, as we don't yet have access to the game on original Switch hardware. So let's go ahead and dive in. Like its predecessors, the experience begins with a beautifully crafted menu system. Smooth, video-driven backgrounds echo the game's themes. It's a subtle but defining touch unique to the series, and I'm thrilled to see it return. My only real gripe is that giant Switch 2 edition banner proudly displayed on the title screen itself. Push forward, however, and the moment you step into the game world, it's clear Retro has built something truly special. The visual design is meticulous, atmospheric, and unmistakably Metroid Prime. Much like prior entries, Prime 4 opens with a major event, in this case an attack on a research station. You encounter a mix of allies and enemies as you fight your way through the facility, culminating in a brief boss battle. Defeating it triggers a cutscene, where a mysterious artifact transports Samus to another world, and from here, the true adventure begins. The game establishes its structure within the first hour or so. While Metroid Prime 3 split its campaign across multiple planets, Prime 4 returns to a single interconnected setting, anchored by a vast desert hub. It's evocative of Zelda Ocarina of Time or Shadow of the Colossus, large enough to feel imposing, yet deliberately constrained, serving as the atmospheric glue binding the world together. Your primary objective is to locate 5 keys hidden across 5 distinct biomes. Each delivers its own visual identity and atmosphere, giving Retro's artists ample room to showcase their craft. This area variety is a clear strength here. Fury Green is centered around a towering tree stretching towards the heavens with gorgeous ruins of alien architecture offset by lush plant life and flowing water. Volt Forge, the second area, then boasts architecture reminiscent of Ridley Scott's Prometheus, with 3 towering spires linked together by suspended skyways. A persistent rainstorm soaks the architecture in water, leading to beautiful reflective effects. A third area, then, leads you deep underground where an abandoned medical facility lies entombed in ice, before you work your way back to the surface after thawing it out, dispatching the experiments that have gone wrong. Technically speaking, the game appears to run on Retro Studios' in-house engine, likely evolved from the one used in Metroid Prime Remastered. As with past titles, the focus here is not on bleeding-edge rendering techniques, rather on pristine design paired with high frame rates. Textures and materials are richly detailed with convincing specular highlights. World geometry mixes rugged, natural stone with sleek, otherworldly materials. There's beautiful lighting and shadow effects that were never possible in earlier Metroid Prime games, while animation and camera work remain a highlight. One of my favorite things about the Prime series are the visor effects, and Metroid Prime 4 does a nice job updating them for a modern era. For instance, I love how rain droplets bead across Samus's visor, instantly grounding it as a pane of glass between her eyes and the world. Look closer and you'll spot a similar effect applied to her metallic arm cannon. In colder regions, the visor's edges frost over, while her arm cannon gathers delicate ice crystals. Step indoors from the snow and you'll even catch stray snowflakes striking the visor briefly before melting away. A subtle, beautiful touch. Pulling up the area map reveals another flourish, Samus's face briefly reflected in the visor. Did you see it? Let's look again. Yeah, details like these basically elevate the presentation, layering intimacy and realism. And of course, the world itself also brims with similar touches. Much like your visor, rain can be observed streaking down glass used in various structures, while screen space god rays, a once ubiquitous technique, punctuate the atmosphere with striking effect. They also leverage old school billboard textures and other similar techniques to sort of fill in the space. Basically a simple visual technique with a very low performance impact that's implemented very well. When driving across the desert then, not only does your bike leave trails in the sand, independently for the front and back wheels by the way, but the wheels themselves very carefully track changes in the terrain in a way that feels very visually satisfying. The point here is that the technology used in this game is not boundary pushing, but that's okay. The actual results themselves are truly beautiful. Retro Studios has once again prioritized artistry and performance over novelty, and the outcome is a timeless presentation just as with the original Metroid Prime back in 2002, which if you recall launched around the same time as Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, which was pushing all these brand new techniques, yet I'd say it's Metroid Prime that has aged more gracefully. So I keep coming back to this focus on technical performance, right? But what does it actually mean in practice? Well, at least on Switch 2, the game offers 2 distinct modes. You're asked to choose one when you first boot up the game, though you can switch at any time. The options are straightforward on paper. You get 4K at 60 frames per second, or 1080p at 120. But as always, the reality is a little more nuanced. Starting with the 4K 60 mode, I was slightly confused off the bat when it comes to pixel counting. You see, typically you look for sharp, obvious edges, and Samus's visor provides exactly that. The edges measure at native 4K, yet the surrounding world doesn't appear quite as sharp. So I found another edge, and that gave me a different result, 20 out of 30 steps, resulting in 1440p. The explanation? The visor surrounding the screen is rendered separately and composited into the main scene. In fact, those edges might even be 2D elements. It's actually a little difficult to tell. There is at least some lighting applied to it, but it could just be an overlay. However, because the visor...
I've heard that twice of what he's saying, and I still don't understand what he's trying to say. Like, this is my second or third time listening to this whole 4K, 1440p overlay, whatever, and I still don't I still am like, all right, it looks the same.
There is always on screen. Your eyes kind of perceive the overall image as being sharper than it actually is. Anti-aliasing then is handled by SMAA, and the results are surprisingly great. There's no temporal AA, and the developers largely avoid low-resolution buffers, so the image retains a uniform sharpness. From a typical viewing distance, it genuinely does read like a native 4K image, even though it's very much 1440p. There's a slight interpolation visible, but it's very sharp. The best image quality I've seen from a Nintendo game on Switch 2 thus far. But there's another option, the 120Hz mode, and this one drops the resolution all the way down to 1080p, and this includes things like HUD elements, which are native 4K in the other mode. So naturally, everything is a bit softer. Even so, I'd argue that the presentation remains sharp enough. In fact, at 1080p, it's still significantly sharper and clearer than Metroid Prime Remastered was on the original Switch, by a significant margin even. So while you're trading resolution for fluidity, it doesn't actually feel like that large of a sacrifice. And this is doubly true because image quality is the only real trade-off. The performance mode does deliver the same visual fidelity as quality mode. There's no obvious difference here. I was happy to sacrifice a touch of clarity for sheer fluidity. 120 frames per second is fantastic for a first-person action game like this. And thankfully, when the developers promise 120 frames per second, they actually mean it in this case. This is not just an uncapped, fluctuating VRR style mode. The game actually does lock to 120 and holds it with complete consistency. Well, almost. You see, while all the dungeon-like areas were completely locked, I did notice some occasional, very tiny little dips when exploring the open world. When I say tiny, I mean just a couple dropped frames here or there, not actual sustained dips. It's very, very minor, I'd say. And all of this applies equally to the 60Hz mode, by the way. The main areas you explore, all flawless, but the open world, again, you get these tiny little disturbances on the frame time graph. It's so small that I really only picked up on this after benchmarking it with our tools. So yeah, the 60Hz mode, also smooth. But of course, motion clarity inevitably suffers at lower frame rates, which is why I usually use black frame insertion in such cases. And I don't mind that compromise, but BFI does slightly dim the image, which in this case turned out to be less than ideal. Why, you ask? The HDR. Yes, until now I'd argue that HDR has been a disappointment on Switch 2. The internal screen isn't true HDR to begin with, and docked games have generally struggled to make use of the feature. Kirby Air Riders, most recently, is downright shocking in how poor its HDR implementation really is. Prime 4, however, is a completely different story. For my money, this is one of the finest HDR presentations I've seen in years, standing shoulder to shoulder with the very best. The development team clearly understands the potential of HDR.
So let me ask you guys a question real quick. I know I'm going to like just interrupt just real quick, but like they always talk about HDR like if it's like some type of alter game, and I've had great HDR, and I have a fine-tuned HDR experience on my PS5, my Xbox Series, PC. I do not see HDR as this thing that completely changes. Like, he's gonna go into HDR and he acts like, oh my gosh, it makes the game all of a sudden turn some dookie into gold. And I know it's not that far, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I've just never thought about HDR in that type of way. But let's hear what he has to say about HDR. I mean, you guys in the chat, you guys can let me know if you feel HDR adds that much or not. Like I said, I've tried HDR on PS5 Pro. I've tried HDR on lots of different games, and I don't see it that type of way. But they love HDR. They make HDR sound like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So
and
yeah.
has taken full advantage of it. Heck, I wanted to produce this video in HDR, but the Switch's HDR output doesn't cooperate with my capture equipment, so unfortunately, you'll just have to use your imagination. And that's actually where it really hit me. Jumping back into the game playing in HDR after recording it in SDR really showed me just how large of a difference there really is. Highlights blaze with eye-searing intensity, while shadows remain deep and rich, creating spectacular dynamic range. For those on LG OLEDs, I highly recommend switching to HGIG mode rather than dynamic tone mapping, which I typically rely on for Switch 2 stuff due to the subpar results.
I have an LG OLED that has the HGIG or whatever he's talking about. So I have an OLED. I have a LG CX OLED that has great HDR. I have a MSI expensive monitor that does great HDR. So I'm just letting y'all know that.
When using it, the impact is truly transformative. HDR genuinely reshapes the atmosphere of the game, making a huge leap forward. If you own a capable set, you absolutely owe it to yourself to experience this in HDR. Alas, unsurprisingly, portable mode does not fare as well. The screen simply cannot reproduce HDR convincingly. The brightness and uniform backlight just can't get it done. And its sluggish response time means that even at 120 Hz, lateral motion appears smeared. On top of that, portable mode drops to 720p when running in 120 mode, while quality mode seems to be mostly around 1080p. Image quality really isn't a problem in portable mode, but the motion and HDR issues definitely are visible. This is, of course, no fault of the game itself, however, just a commentary on the hardware experience. Of course, another technical aspect I'd like to quickly discuss here are the loading times, as I feel they're handled very well. So if you go back to
8 out of 10 is
prior
mid?
games, the whole idea was to hide loading behind either animation sequences or door opening sequences. And it works exactly like those first 3 games in this new one. But the actual reaction time of doors opening and whatnot is much quicker than it was before. You'll never find yourself getting stuck waiting for a door to open up after you've shot it.
Yeah, I don't turn on HDR when I'm playing because it messes up my capture card. So I need to get a new capture card that can do HDR better or something because it messes it up.
So that's another improvement in favor of Metroid Prime 4. So yeah, when it comes to the overall quality of the presentation, Prime 4 really does stand out as, in my opinion at least, one of the best looking games on Switch 2. It shows that cutting edge techniques alone are not enough in building your art.
All right, you're just here
around
to
a
troll?
spec
All right, no problem,
designed to
bro.
offer fast performance.
Thanks for
and
coming out to this stream. I
consistency
appreciate you.
is equally important. I love advanced rendering features, of course, but it's not always the right solution, especially on a game that needs to run on the Switch 1. How well it runs on Switch 1, though, still remains to be seen, but hopefully we'll find out soon enough. Speaking of hardware, though, Prime 4 does take advantage of some key Switch 2 features as well. The most obvious one is, of course, support for the mouse. Prime 4 allows you to use the Joy-Con as a mouse, with the other for movement and jumping. When sat at a desk...
Real quick. This is that guy that... This is what this guy's history is. That I just... For those that... This is what his history is. I pooped at Denny's Spawncast pre-show. Like, look at this guy, bro. We trying... If you all want to know why I timed him out, this guy is weird, bro. This guy's a weirdo.
It does work better than I expected. Sure, the relative thinness and use of the shoulder buttons feels a little bit strange as a mouse, but you get used to it. And if you're gonna use this mode, I recommend playing at 120 Hz as it makes the game feel way more responsive. So what about the sound then? This is another area I always like to discuss in my reviews, and in the case of Metroid, it's doubly important. Much of Metroid's atmosphere has always leaned on the sound, so they had to get it right. The result? Pretty good overall, but not quite reaching the heights of the original Metroid Prime. Now, on the tech side of things, it does actually take full advantage of multi-channel surround sound, which the Switch is capable of, which is a huge plus. Discrete channels add a lot to the soundscape and help immerse you in the world. Sound effects are also spot on, very reminiscent of the older games, yet still feeling a bit fresh. The soundtrack, however, is what I value most in any Metroid game, and what we have here is somewhat variable. So when the themes kick in, the results are tremendous. I've used the Fury Green track for some of this video, and I think it's absolutely amazing. The same goes for various other themes throughout the game as well, but Metroid Prime 4 leans very heavily on ambiance. It's not a bad thing, mind you, but it also means that there's fewer memorable tunes in the game due to leaning on such ambient music and sound. I'm about halfway through the game at the time of writing, but I definitely feel it could have used a few more memorable tunes. Still, overall, it's well done, and when it hits great. So what about the action then? Well, at its core, the controls, movement, combat, and platforming feel spot on, like a direct continuation of the series' lineage. But if you were paying attention to previews, you would be familiar with concerns about the new helper character, Miles McKenzie. But his role is a lot less intrusive than expected. Most of the game is in fact still played in isolation. Miles sets up a base in Fury Green and then largely stays there, rarely interrupting comms, which is a good thing. What previews did not reveal, however, is that you encounter other survivors as well, who then join Miles at camp while you continue on your adventure. These characters appear briefly in cutscenes with some occasional dialogue, but never to an annoying degree, and in fact you kind of come to like them over time. Compare this to Metroid Prime 3's lengthy introduction with the constant chatter. This really is a non-issue. It doesn't fully recapture the complete solitude of Prime 1 or 2, but it smartly rolls back many of the third game's choices and is stronger for it. Now, the level design is also strong, with complex, multi-tiered environments packed with secrets that often require power-ups to uncover on return trips. The only downside is they're not quite as tightly woven as in the first game. The desert area, for instance, feels more like Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field. It's the connective tissue between all the different areas, as opposed to having the areas sort of overlap. It's less disruptive than Prime 3's ship mechanics, but still diminishes that sense of ultra-tight integration. Still, overall, while it doesn't reach the heights of the original, I'm very happy with Metroid Prime 4 overall as a massive fan of the series. In fact, it might be my second favorite in the series, depending on how it wraps up. It somehow manages to feel like a game made...
Did you guys hear that? Did you hear that last part?
Still diminishes that sense of ultra-tight integration.
Yeah,
like Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field. It's the connective tissue between all the different areas, as opposed to having the areas sort of overlap. It's less disruptive than Prime 3's ship mechanics, but still diminishes that sense of ultra-tight integration. Still, overall, while it doesn't reach the heights of the original, I'm very happy with Metroid Prime 4 overall as a massive fan of the series. In fact, it might be my second favorite in the series, depending on how it wraps up.
Second
it somehow
favorite.
Manages to feel like a game made for a different time and place. It's evocative and special. And when it comes to the technical presentation on Switch 2, it's basically faultless. If that sounds interesting to you, then I encourage you, give it a shot.
So there you go. There's the whole reviews. There's one of the reviews from a technical perspective, also from a gameplay perspective. Personally, as someone that says a big, massive Metroid Prime fan, I am not a big, massive Metroid Prime fan. So my opinion is irrelevant when it comes down to it. I am not a big shoutouts to Tosh with the $5. I'm happy these reviews coming out. I was worried at first, but looking forward to playing the game again. My only gripe now is the older amiibos. The older amiibos? You mean like the high priced amiibos? Or what do you mean the older amiibos? So yeah. But either way. Yeah, it's all good. Shout outs to everybody. So I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that coming out to the stream. Appreciate everybody that came through. I thought that was a lot of fun. Now, one more thing with the Mario Kart World update. Apparently, the Mario Kart World update is really good. Apparently, the update is really good. There are some things that are really good about the update with the game. So I'm going to show you guys one thing. I might talk about it tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm probably going to talk about more Metroid Prime 4 stuff and Mario Kart World update. I'm probably going to talk about those two things. Probably Mario Kart World. I need to test it out myself, but there's Mario Kart World, Pokemon Legends ZA, Metroid Prime 4. I think those are the things that we can talk about. But apparently, the intermissions seem to be apparently better. So some people are talking about here. Shout out to Tosh. Thank you for the $5 though, man. I appreciate that. Oh, you ran out of older amiibos just to play the jingle. Okay. I see what you're saying. Apparently, the update for Metroid Prime, the intermissions, like they've changed some of the tracks. So it kind of makes them like more like stuff to do. Like they're adding vines and all these different things to the tracks to make it better to go through and stuff. So apparently they've made some updates on a lot of the different tracks. Now I don't know if it's everything, but it does seem like some of it's been changed. So I guess more people got to experiment and they can show more. So Party Man's got to get us the beat on that one. So yeah. Let's see. This update from... Did I say update for Metroid Prime? I meant to say Mario Kart World. Sorry. This Mario Kart World update. Mario Kart World update. Sorry, I said Metroid Prime. We were talking about Metroid Prime. Mario Kart World. Sorry, I said Metroid. Did I say Metroid Prime? I meant to say Mario Kart World. Sorry. My bad. Mario Kart World, both with M's. Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World update is looking pretty good. My bad. Oh snap! I haven't. Yeah. There seems to be some crazy updates where like I guess like I think what they're talking about here is the intermissions changed. I think that's where the thing is, where it says intermission race that heads from Koopa Troopa Beach to DK Spaceport, Koopa Troopa Beach to I think that's the one. Race that heads from Whistle Stop Summit to Koopa Troopa Beach, Desert Hills to Koopa Troopa Beach, DK Spaceport to Koopa Troopa Beach. Like I think that's where the changes are, but there's only a number of them. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think that maybe they'll add more, or the rest of I don't know how many intermissions there are. I don't even know the structure, to be honest. But I'm guessing that they're going to maybe add more or change it or adapt it as time goes on. So yeah, I don't know. It looks a lot better from what I've seen. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, there was never the vines and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, General Zamora and Party Man, you guys play it. You guys have no kids, so I need you guys to play it thoroughly, and I need my report tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I need my report from you guys. You guys can tag me or DM me. So General Zamora, I know you play a lot. So General Zamora, I need like a paragraph. I need to do some homework for me. I need you to tell me, and I need that actually like tonight maybe, so I can get it into my video tomorrow. So, I know I'm not paying you for this, but I mean, if you could play it and then give me like, you know, like exactly what's good and what's bad, or what you think is good and what you think needs more work. Same thing with you, Parman. I need about a paragraph from both of you guys, and if you can DM me it before you go to sleep tonight, that would be great. Preferably if you can DM me in the next 2 to 3 hours before I go to sleep, because I'm old. That would be great if you can. Oh my gosh. Amazon is delivering yours on Thursday. So hype. Nice. Let's go. What's up, Nick93? Welcome. Some of those intermissions were boring, but they seem to have made them more interesting. Yeah, some of them, it seems. I was just playing and didn't notice different other than the title music being on the pause menu. Yeah, and then you definitely didn't see all the stuff that they added. So I'm guessing, like, you missed the whole custom items things to the item rule set, Mecha Ridley. So, yeah. That whole thing. You missed that whole thing. There also seems to be like some like added like restarted next race and stuff for the pause menus, and then of course yeah they added some stuff there. So I'm guessing maybe you missed some of it or you haven't played that part. That's why I said I think maybe not every place is they've updated the intermission stuff with new things, but I'm guessing that's what they're gonna start doing. I don't remember what the last update when the last update was. But it seems like they're doing like updates maybe every like month or two, couple months. Maybe there'll be like an update. So I'm guessing that's the cadence that we'll get them at every couple months or few months. I have to go to bed soon, sir. All right, General Zamora, you're up then, buddy. You are up, General Zamora. You are up. You are up. Let's see here. Okay, guys, that's gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for coming out to tonight's stream. I do appreciate it. If you have not watched my most recent video, check out my most recent video. It is awesome. I'm not sure what else they can do to rebalance it. I mean, they've already done a ton, like they have a bunch of balance patches and fixes there, so I'm not sure, you know, what rebalancing you're looking for, because they've done a ton of tweaks and changes, so I'm not sure what you're looking for, but hopefully they add whatever you're looking for, Dr. Birdie. I hope they add that for you. All right, let's go and let's check out my most recent video. If you have not seen it, I appreciate it. Sorry about that, Nick. I appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you to everybody that came through to the stream. It was very fun. It was a very fun stream. It was super cool. I really enjoyed my time talking to you guys about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and about other things, you know, so I appreciate that. I think it was fun. So yeah. Let's see. Peace and love, OJ. Hey, have an amazing rest of your night, guys. Thank you so much, man. Let's see. It just feels really bagging heavy is all. Bagging heavy. Okay, so you have to stop to get better items in order to do better indie game. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that I'm not sure if they've adjusted that or not, to be honest. I'm not sure how they adjusted that. I mean, they might have. I'm look through the patch notes and they might tell you that, but I don't think they did. They did do some stuff with like booze or dash food or some stuff, but I don't think they changed the item balance. They might have just stealth changed it, because Nintendo does stuff like that where they don't talk about it. Excuse me. But I don't know if they actually like changed it in that sense. So yeah. So either way, yeah. Shout outs, guys. Thank you so much. That's not entirely true. Oh man, here we go. Oh, they haven't adjusted the bagging. Okay, they haven't adjusted. Okay, so they didn't adjust that. So we'll see what they do in the future. All right, guys, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. We might be off tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. I might stream though. I probably might stream for like a bit tomorrow. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna get some videos done, maybe some shorts. I gotta get some shorts done. So I'll probably get a video for you guys in the morning. I'll get a video for you guys, maybe 2 videos and plus some shorts. If I stream, then probably like 1 video short and a stream. So yeah, I'll be working tomorrow, guys. I'll be working tomorrow. So yeah. All right, guys. Love y'all so much. Thank you so much for coming out to the stream. You guys are awesome. Watch my most recent video. If you have not seen it, I'm gonna put a link. If you haven't seen my most recent video, check it out. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Shout out to all the Elite Ninjas too. Going further than Beyond tonight. Also, shout out to Chris. Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. And yeah, we will see you guys potentially tomorrow. If not, we'll see you guys in the videos tomorrow. All right. Love y'all. Peace out. Have a nice night. Bye, everybody.